Trophy in Nebraska's Ales in overtime continue. Not able to score, Wisconsin gets bowl eligible in 3 straight heartbreaking losses, DB, for the Huskers.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
You know what I feel like as we welcome in on a Monday morning? Good Monday morning, everybody. This is one of my favorite weeks. I feel like the John Travolta meme from Pulp Fiction. Because of what this show is supposed to be, I'm the only person that's here.
I mean, technically, the big voice guy said Gary, Jimmy, and Nick.
He did.
The only person that's missing is Nick.
What'd they do for Peter? But I'm like looking around. I'm like, where is Nick? Where is Jimmy?
Well, yeah. Why is Jimmy Chavez off today?
Because Kansas lost.
Oh, that's a good
They
reason.
lost the Sunflower Showdown. Is that the case?
Maybe so.
I sent him the same message I sent you, and I was wondering why I didn't get a response back. And I was like, all right, I don't want to buy you coffee anyway, Jimmy Chavez.
You sent it to him. Okay.
Walked in, saw Peter, and I went, oh, that makes sense.
How were look at you, went smoothie. You're not a coffee guy this early in the morning. You went smoothie, huh?
There's
the Red Bull. The Red Bull
there's
smoothie?
there's a hint of energy
Got a little
in the
alcohol
air
in there?
tonight. No, unfortunately not.
Why not?
I should after that performance on Saturday night.
Whoa, that's starting early. We're not even to 6:10, and you're already throwing haymakers.
Big Red Overreaction 2.0, baby. Get those calls at 402-951-1620.
I got thoughts. First of all, I need to apologize again to all of our listeners of Big Red Overreaction.
As you should. Apologize away, sir.
No. What do you mean? Whoa. Wow. What is going on here? You're no longer on the high school broadcast tonight.
All right.
Peter,
hey, I wanted the night off.
Peter,
anyway.
what are you doing at 7:15? So, dang. I was in Colorado Springs, so Josh Odson was here. And, that Josh doesn't do Big Red Overreaction very often. And after those kind of games, those are one of those things where you gotta be tight, you got to be on the air and, because you're going to get a wide range of emotions. And then we are in an era of Big Red Overreaction where people just like to call up and swear on the air.
Oh, repeatedly.
Like I almost called up my own show and was like, so that you get dumped. And so that all the hosts go, yep. And there it is. So we're now on to you about 3 people that their whole goal is to have a hot take. Some of them actually, one guy is, I really like how he, approaches thinking, but he'll always drop an F-bomb to finish.
Which is almost the only one that you can't use.
He's out. But I have to apologize because I was in Colorado Springs over the weekend with Omaha men's basketball. And I was in a really, really nice hotel that had god-awful internet. So Saturday night after the game, and of course what that game transpired to be, I had trouble hooking up through StreamYard, which is 1620 The Zone TV. And then I had to do it on the phone, and, it's kind of tricky. So I just want to start by apologizing for the technical issues that we've had. But here's the deal. This is my favorite week of the year.
Because
that's one of them. But this is rivalry week.
It is.
It is also hate week. This is also Iowa week for Nebraska, where there's a lot on the line. I don't want to hear anybody say, well, Iowa really doesn't have such a face. Iowa has a lot to play for. They already going to Indianapolis. You don't think they want to come into Lincoln and grab a trophy back because they don't want to hear a talk show host in Omaha count down the days of how long it's been since Iowa has beaten Nebraska in football? So there is that element. Also, you have the high school state finals. We will be carrying Class B tonight. We'll be carrying Class A right here on the radio. I'm not normally home on Thanksgiving because Omaha men's basketball is usually on the road. So I'm away this weekend, and that's kind of a big reason why we're doing the high school games. So I'm in town, like, let's do them. But we have those games for you. But I love this week. We have the monster matchup of Michigan, Ohio State at the end of the week. I mean, it's rivalry week. It's hate week. And we're just going to kind of enter this week around here a little bit differently than we thought we were going to do.
For anybody that thinks Iowa doesn't have anything to play for on Friday, did you not see the reaction from that team a year ago? And you don't think they remember how that sat in their craw up until this week?
Yeah.
They're coming fired up.
I know you. Yeah, and I know you might look at like the line, and the line shifted from Iowa being a 1.5 point favorite to Nebraska being a 1.5 point favorite. I'm not focusing on that. I am focusing on all of America. Can we do our part and get the total down to about 25.5? Can we do that? Because right now it's at 27.5, and you're playing Iowa, which Ben Stevens had a great stat yesterday. 6 of the 14 lowest totals in the history of Vegas/college football Iowa's been involved with. Don't focus on the 1.5. Let's focus on how much we can get the total to go down from 27.5.
Iowa did their part and hit the under on Saturday.
Well, they've hit the under 9 times. I mean, they have, and I'm going to tie this into Nebraska a little bit later on in the show, but Iowa wins the quintessential Iowa way. Okay, they know their identity, they don't run away from it, and they win football games. You cannot knock Iowa. They win football games.
In Phil Parker, we trust.
Well, they win. Okay, they in close games they find a way to win, which continues to be an issue for Nebraska. And I think it is multi-layered on why Nebraska can't break through. And while Iowa, on the other hand, who Kirk Ferentz is now, third all-time in wins in Big Ten coaching, Iowa finds a way to win those type of games. And it's going to be another one of those type of games on Friday, on Black Friday at 11 a.m. on CBS.
Which is weird.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the new days of
let's
college
talk about
football,
that for a
where
second.
you play on NBC on Saturday night, and then you play on CBS.
And then you had Peacock the week before.
But you have the two main big networks where Nebraska used to appear regularly, where they were playing for a national championship, in the Orange Bowl, or they were, actually both. You could be playing in the Orange Bowl. So there's all of that wrapped up. So I love this week. This is rivalry week. This is hate week. Try and not let your emotional hangover from Saturday night impact how you're going to look at this week.
I wonder how many people because we always often ask the question, who would you rather beat if you could only beat one, Wisconsin or Iowa? I wonder how much different that answer was for some people this year based on the fact that you beat Iowa last year.
Jesus, it should have been, I'd rather beat Michigan State to become bowl eligible, so you're not on a 3-game losing streak and sitting here in a tension convention on Friday trying to beat your chief rival to become bowl eligible. That would be the simple answer.
That guy that was screaming at Matt Rule, hey, just one more, was a little more right than we all wanted to let on about 5 weeks ago.
So I'm wondering, in our business and on this radio station where we do Big Red Overreaction, it is a great show. We have great callers. Some are better than others, but it's a great show. I mean, it's like one of the best things that we do on this radio station. But when you host it and then you come back in on Monday and you do your own show, it's kind of like a mix of emotions. Because you do the show on Saturday night, and it's more about the callers. Let the callers talk about it, and you react to a couple of things.
Get a little out of your system, though.
Chief going deep into what happened. But, I think a majority of us do. We either go back and watch certain elements of the game, or you go back and watch the entire game. But I'm wondering here on this Monday, because I got it out in Colorado Springs. I actually got it in the airport yesterday from somebody that wanted to talk about Nebraska, Wisconsin. The emotions are still running hot. There's the emotional hangover that you wake up on Sunday with. I'm curious, what is the emotion of people today? Because now we're 2 days past Wisconsin.
Oh, I think it's still red hot. I don't think anyone's calmed down at all.
I agree with you.
10 in a row.
Oh, that's what happens.
You've won one of these since joining the conference, and it was the first one. There's a lot of hangover to be had there.
Yeah, that is because Marquise Buford after the game had tears in his eyes, and he used the word angry, sad, disappointed. I use the word frustrated.
I think that's where the majority of the fan base is. I think a lot of the players are angry and sad, but I think the majority of the fan base is all past that, just incredibly frustrated by. I mean, this is over 4 coaches now that you haven't been able to beat this team just one time.
Well, I don't think it, and that's part of it of who you lost to. But I think in the manner that Nebraska continues to lose football games. Here's one of the main things about Saturday night, and I would encourage, and I love that Matt Rule kind of has the discourse of the fan base. He listens. He has an ear to the ground. We kind of praised him last week because he alluded to that, and he speaks today to the media. I would like him to explain the plan. I think there was the reason there. I think there was a mixture of last week, this week, and past history. I would just like him to explain the plan today of what they were thinking when they got the ball back at the end of regulation. I'm on record, said it Saturday night. Last week and last week against Maryland, this week against Wisconsin are not identical.
Not at all.
They are not identical. But I would encourage Matt Rule not to listen this week.
I was going to say, how much of that do you think it is because he does listen to the fan base, and that was sitting in the back of his mind?
I didn't like that. I knew that he wanted to, I don't want to lighten up the mood, but I knew what he was getting at when he referred to people that wanted him to do X against Maryland and then what he did. I would just encourage him not to listen to them, to listen to the fan base. Just keep your head down and go to work, because they're going to have to coach the best on Friday to win a football game. Because I do believe that guys had put so much into that Wisconsin game. They talked about internal motivation, things up in the facility, snapping that losing streak of 9 straight games. And then when you're up 14-0, you're thinking,
this is it.
Whoa. This doesn't look like the Wisconsin team that we played in the past. Wisconsin was taking bad angles on tackles. They were shoulder tackling. They were committing penalties. And you're like, whoa, this is an opportunity. And then the game flipped. So they're going to have to coach their best this week, whether it be on the chalkboard or inside of the ear hole of players, to get them to play this week. But I always come in here on Monday, especially after a heated game like Saturday, and wonder what people's emotions are.
Did it surprise you how much it seemed like Wisconsin didn't respect the quarterback run game to start the game? I mean, because even on Chubba's touchdown run, there was clearly nobody accounting for the quarterback.
Well, I think a little bit of it, Jimmy, was they didn't know what to expect out of Chubba.
Right, but
they also were poor, man.
100%.
You go back and look. Well, on Chubba's touchdown run, which it's funny how he checks the scoreboard, the video board, as he's running into the end zone to see who's behind him. I mean, they took some bad angles. I think some of the things with Chubba, he didn't have much tape on him. And so,
right, but this team was coming in where the only offense they've had systematically has been with the quarterback run game.
Well, but he's different. He's different than Harburg and Sims.
I agree with that, but I mean, you had to know it was going to be a part of what they were going to try to do. It's what they've done all season.
I mean, it wasn't like the 55-yard touchdown run was a quarterback design. He was a scramble that he took off and ran.
But 90% of the reason it happened is because nobody accounted for him.
I just think Wisconsin was not initially ready for Purdy. Now, here's the stark reality of Saturday is Wisconsin adjusted.
Yeah, they went zone and it changed the whole game.
Nebraska, well, they more or less went back to their base. They added in some cornerback blitz, but they went back to their base and they adjusted, and they essentially shut Nebraska down after that drive to get to 4th and 1 early in the second quarter. They adjusted. Nebraska did not. There's multi-layers about what happened on Saturday night that either are red flags moving forward or it's a concern, and you got to find a way to be better with your strengths than you are your weaknesses. How I look at some of the things that went on, and we're going to talk about a lot today.
The scariest part about it is they basically did essentially what Michigan State did, and they ran that inside stunt with playing zone. It kind of just kept everything in front, and Nebraska just couldn't find a way to pull the top off the defense.
And then at the end of the day, this is what happened in that game. I mean, there's lots to be discussed about the end of regulation.
Yeah.
I think we're using the wrong word about Matt Rule's weakness. I'll tell you at some point during the show. But Nebraska did not play complimentary football. They had an opportunity where if they would have played just a hint of complimentary football consistently throughout that game, they're already bowl eligible. They are bowl eligible if they play just a hint of complimentary football. When was the last time that on defense, and this defense, which quarterback run game element, and Mordecai was the difference for Wisconsin, in my opinion.
Agreed.
When was the last time where this defense, you were like, oh, they're dinking and dunking, and this defense doesn't look like they're on par, and then they'll pop back up and look like the defense we're used to? But how many times this season, and this is probably a pretty easy answer for you, Jimmy, where the defense was handed 14 offensive points?
Yeah, this would be one. That's one answer. Yeah, the answer to that is one.
So this was a team loss. This was on offense, defense, special teams, head coach, coaching staff. They didn't have enough complementary football where when they needed a defensive stop or they needed a special teams play or they needed the offense that just got the ball back because Nebraska late in the game stopped Wisconsin on 4th down, they gave it right back to Wisconsin. They did not execute complementary football, and they paid for it with a team that at the end of the day made more plays than you. And they're bowl eligible, and you're not, and you have to live with it. And now you have to do your best job coaching this week, Or the stark reality is this season's over. I mean, it could be over at 2:30 on Friday. Man, that's tough to wrap your arms around in the moment when would have had 4 opportunities to become bowl eligible with a golden opportunity, which this program, not just a Rule thing, not just a Frost thing, a Riley thing, the opportunities that are there to be seized just escape this program.
And how much different does this game look if Kobe Brett lays out for that punt?
Well, yeah, that's the complimentary football. Okay,
I said that on my show on Friday.
When you had a chance to make a play, Wisconsin handed you a block punt on a silver platter, and you weren't able to take care of it. They missed out on complimentary football, just a tinge of complimentary football on Saturday night, and they win a 1-score game, which Matt Rule is now 0 for 4 in 1-score games this year.
It's one of those things that it feels like this team will go as far as the defense and the special team takes them, even if they're allowed a 14-point lead.
Yeah, and there's a lot in there, Jimmy. We're in the moment right now. Probably going to slide back here soon, and you're going to go, okay, this team probably is not 5-6. I mean, they're 6 losses for a reason, but they have squeezed everything out. But in the moment, it's like, I mean, you can't be bowl eligible. You just played 3 teams that had losing streaks coming in. You couldn't get bowl eligible. That's in the moment, and then you're going to step back and go, Jesus, how'd they ever get to 5? But you can't think that way because this week your whole goal is to get to 6 and to continue your season. Because I'm telling you, there's got to be guys in that program. And this is where you got to coach your best this week between the ear hole and on the chalkboard. Is there seniors in that program? Their career at Nebraska could be over at 2:30 on Friday afternoon. That would be difficult. That would be really, really difficult. And it would be another seizing opportunities that this program continues to chase and it eludes them. It would be the 4th time that you've gone into Black Friday, the 3rd time against Iowa, 1 time against Colorado, and weren't able to get that magical number to get to a bowl game.
Yeah, and the one thing we haven't brought up is how many times Nebraska had a free runner at a ball carrier on Saturday night and just let them go or run by them. And you got a situation where you've got all the momentum and Wisconsin starts driving downfield and somehow Ty Robinson gets put covering the wheel route too. I mean, there's just some things where the scheme looks completely fit, and then there's just something like that where you're like, how is a defensive tackle covering a wheel route in a goal in basically a scoring situation?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of concern about the defense and some of the things that reared their ugly head that they had not shown this year. I mean, guys not playing with their eyes became an issue, but there's also the part I know this is a Nebraska-based talk show that's going to probably beat this game into the ground for 12 hours on this radio station today. Is Tanner Mordecai was better than a lot of people, and he might have been the best player on the field. Tanner Mordecai, I was impressed. Tanner Mordecai made plays when Wisconsin needed a play. Tanner Mordecai, with either his arm, but most importantly his legs, which caused Nebraska problems, he made the play. You got to tip your hat to him on that. Yeah, there's a lot of things Nebraska did wrong, but I'm going to tell you, he also forced Nebraska to make a lot of mistakes and became all of a sudden slippery, and he wasn't even wet.
Before the season
Peter,
started,
you like that reference?
I picked Wisconsin.
I thought that was great.
I picked Wisconsin to win this division because of him. I thought he was going to be the difference maker, a 6-year quarterback in a system that he knows how to run. And obviously, injuries have piled up on him. But I mean, his performance on Saturday didn't surprise me in the slightest.
Again, the emotions. So you're hung over on emotions of Sunday. I mean, people are angry. I get it, and you should be. People care. Okay? People care. If they didn't care, they wouldn't care what happened at the end of regulation. Like, people care. And a lot of anger on Saturday night. You wake up yesterday. That's why I kind of like doing this show when you don't do Big Roto reaction. Like you're the first in on Monday. Yeah. So you had a chance to like soak it in and try and figure out the why of what happened this weekend. I think I'm almost there, Jimmy. On the why, on some of the things that were done. And it's not just a one-game thing. Not just a one-game thing. It may be just the identity. But at some point, you got to win 1-score games. And you can look in the mirror and go, why can Iowa win these games and Nebraska cannot. What is in Iowa's program that when they need a play, Caleb Johnson rips off a touchdown run, and that game flips, and boom, game's over. Iowa wins 15-13. Why is that going on? Is that simply a player? Is that an Amir Abdullah? Or is it something mentally that becomes a block that has followed this program for well over 20 years? I mean, these are deep questions that you ask when the season is over, but they come back and bite you in a game like Wisconsin that was winnable if you just played a little complimentary football.
Do you think that Wisconsin goes for that 4th and short in overtime if this game's in Lincoln?
Yes.
I do too. And I know I saw a lot of people tweeting that out, and I was just like, they've had success against you in that running that same A-gap run all night. Like, they knew exactly what they were doing on third down.
I don't want to be that guy. I'll let Bishop in the afternoon just blow his mind. But you cannot tell the story of what you just alluded to without talking about a right there in front of you tripping call.
Oh, 100%.
It's on the list of things that derailed Nebraska. But that call, which we brought up on Big Red Overreaction, Rule, I don't think, alluded to it. And in the moment,
you can tell he wanted to, though.
But in the moment, it looks like it's sour grapes. You can't tell the story of overtime without the blatant trip by Braylon Allen on Henrich it's wide open. It's right there. It's not like it's clouded by the line of scrimmage. It's Allen backpedaling, falling, and his legs go straight up in the air. And the legs don't just stay straight up in the air. They wander.
Follow. Yeah.
I mean, that's a
the line judge was looking right at it.
That's a significant play because that takes it to 2nd and 25 in the overtime. But back to your original question, yes, I think Wisconsin, they had Braylon Allen. They knew they were going downhill. They also knew this is the part of, oh geez,
we got to see if Nebraska's Nebraska.
Well, but also I think that defense was gassed.
Yeah,
I mean that defense was just kind of hanging on, and Wisconsin looked like Wisconsin in overtime. They made more plays. They won the game. They had a better play on the field than anybody else in Tanner Mordecai.
Which is frustrating for a lot of reasons because a lot of this season, Wisconsin has not looked like Wisconsin.
No, but there were times in that game where they looked like the Wisconsin 2023. Self-inflicted wounds, the roughing the passer that kept the drive alive. But then there were other times where they started to win the line of scrimmage, or they ran the football, and they ran it with a power running game and Braylon Allen. I mean, I think fortunately for Nebraska, Northwestern, Braylon Allen not being 100% was a bonus to everybody. They made more plays than Nebraska, and Nebraska's got to live with it. And now they've got to coach the best that they've coached all week between the ear hole and on the chalkboard to win a football game where they can go to a bowl. And 6 is meaningful. I don't care if you've lost 6, winning 6 is meaningful to this team in the 2023 season.
Oh, anybody before the season would have killed for 6 wins.
Well, yeah, and you can't finish the regular season on a 4-game losing streak. You just can't. You can't. You will never have the golden opportunity that you've had with the fortune of the way things have played out and not being able to seize it. That would stick with me for a long time. All right, I can see that this is going to be a wild morning. That's okay. This is going to be Monday morning Big Red Overreaction.
The lines are lighting up.
You can join us on the 42-degree The Source hotline to talk to Jimmy Allen.
Who else would you want to talk to on
exactly
on Monday morning?
951-1620. You can also email yours truly into the Equitable Bank inbox. Again, I'm like Travolta today. I'm looking around. Where's my guys? Gary at 1620thezone.com or on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620 or
at Jimmy Allen 1620 on Twitter. I don't work here, so I don't get an inbox. Sorry, Doug.
You don't?
I don't. I have a mailbox outside. No inbox.
It took Vers like 6 years before they gave him an email address. He would come in and he'd fill in.
I didn't even know he ever had one.
You could reach him by post before that.
I think he strong-armed a GM a couple of GMs ago.
I guess I got to go talk to Keely after this.
You can join us on 1620 The Zone TV. A lot of ways to get in touch with us this morning. We'll have a lot on what happened on Saturday night. We'll talk some basketball. We are in a volleyball state where Nebraska wins the Big Ten and Creighton once again wins the Big East. And also Nebraska women's soccer is going to the Elite Eight. And for the next 2 days in Lincoln, Memorial Stadium is the site of the state football championships.
The home of Gary Sharp.
Jimmy Allen and Connor Happer.
That's right.
We'll all have the coverage tonight of the Class B final, Bennington and Scott, and then we'll have the A final tomorrow between Westside and Elkhorn South.
How long do you think Scott's been waiting for that game? Since week one.
Yeah, how that first one ended? They're very happy about
this. Since the line judge threw his arms in the air at the end of the week one game?
Yeah.
Be a great game.
It will be.
Bennington, people were doubting that they lost a lot from last year. They're okay. Cam Lenhart has a really, really good football program. Yes, Mr. Captain Obvious. They've won 38 in a row. I'm looking forward to that game tonight. And we'll carry it right here on the Zone. Jimmy will have a show on at 6, and then we'll start the pregame at 7, and the kickoff is 7:15. Also, we have a great game in the NFL tonight. It is one of the marquee games between the Kelsey brothers, Jason and Travis.
Is Miss Swift going to be in attendance?
No, because of the weather. No, the weather in Rio de Janeiro. She did an extra show because of the heat. There was a fan that passed away.
Oh no!
So she postponed a show, and then she added a show for all of the fans. So she will not be there, and that's okay because this should be about the Eagles and the Chiefs.
Super Bowl preview?
I don't know. You believe in the Detroit Lions?
Nope.
Well,
not after that game yesterday, where
I don't
know. If Aiden Hutchinson just falls on that ball in the end zone, your boy's got a little more greenbacks.
I believe, and I think this is your team. I believe that when San Francisco is healthy, they are the best team in the NFC.
That Brock Purdy kid might work out. He's all right.
He's had a nice couple of weeks.
He's all right.
Best Lions start since, what was it, 62, 69?
Yeah.
Hey, thank God they'll be playing on Thanksgiving. It'll be worth it.
Yeah, we can finally enjoy that game this year.
All right. Gary, Ryan, Josh, Mike, we got to take a break or we're going to be way backed up. All of you guys are up next to kick off Monday morning reaction. It is Iowa week. It is rivalry week. It is hate week. Let it flow. Let Saturday night out and then start to embrace.
Just save the four-letter words.
The black and gold that will be on the field on Friday for a chance to go to a bowl, keep the trophy.
Another 365 days of beating Iowa.
Add another day to that. It's been a while since Iowa has beaten Nebraska in football or men's basketball. There is a ton on the line for Nebraska. There is a ton on the line for Iowa. They still get to go to Indianapolis, but you don't think 10-2 to 9-3 to 10-2? There's a difference there. And you beat Nebraska, and you kept them out of a bowl game. Oh my! Sign me up for what's going to happen on Friday. Also, sign me up. Everybody was talking about snow. I was watching the weather forecast this morning. It does not look. It looks like flurries. It's going to be like 35, but it's not going to be as they were projecting, like just a snowstorm in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
All right. There's Jimmy Allen. Peter Krenzer is here as well. The Peter Man is in the house. I'm Gary, the only guy that's normally on this show at this time of the morning. Glad to have you in. Lots of calls this morning. Lots of reaction. And I think we're saying clock management. I got something else that I'm going to call the weakness of Matt Rule. It's okay to have weaknesses. Everybody has weaknesses. You just hope that your strengths kind of mute your weaknesses. This phrase, I think, is his weakness. But there are many other strengths. You got to have your strength that is better than your weakness, right?
I may
be talk for the morning.
I may be bailing out Matt Rule's clock management by the end of this show too.
Ooh, you might be on a lonely island. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is always looking to make your game day bigger and better. Cheer on your favorite team this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall showing up to 8 games at once. TVs are everywhere else you can look with a state-of-the-art audio and video system. Enjoy a big old pizza or award-winning char-buffed wings. There's just no better way to do your game day. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road. And for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Sports fans, Let It Fly Sports Bar is your elevated sports bar experience. Indulge in our culinary touchdowns with a menu crafted to satisfy. Savory burgers, tender steaks, to our fire wings. Our world-renowned chef will leave your taste buds cheering for more. We've raised the sports bar dining experience with a new high-end design and incredible food. Whether you're a die-hard sports fan or just love the excitement, Let It Fly is your place. Host your next college game day watch party or private event right here. Elevate your game day experience at Let It Fly, located in downtown Omaha.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
Over the past few years, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected how we live our daily lives. Today, we also face a mental health pandemic that threatens our well-being as we attempt to rebuild our social networks and communities.
The pandemic has reminded us to value family, community, and our human connections. However, it has also left many of us feeling more isolated, confused, and alone, struggling to find meaning amid loss and uncertainty.
Today, 1 in 5 Americans experience emotional and mental health challenges, but many of us do not understand what we are facing or know how to ask for help.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, we understand what you are going through, and we are here to help. Our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all. We work every day to eliminate stigma, combat mental illness and substance use disorders, and advance mental health. If you or someone you love needs help, you are not alone. Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Hey everyone, John and Josh here for the FanDuel Sportsbook, and this Thanksgiving, FanDuel has something you're really going to be thankful for, because today, right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Moneyline bets are simple. You're just picking the winner, so pick a big favorite on Thanksgiving Day. And when I think Thanksgiving, everybody thinks the Detroit Lions.
What a moment for the Lions, John. They can get another victory as their march for the playoffs continues. As John said, go to FanDuel.com/1620. And if you have a winning $5 moneyline bet, you can get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. Also, I recommend taking the Dallas Cowboys. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame moneyline wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
And now, try Babbel free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Attention sales professionals. NRG Media is looking for an accomplished business-to-business salesperson who wants to take their success and skills to a new level. Is this you? Our account executives work with local businesses to create marketing plans to help them get more customers. On air, digital, on-site, audio, video, it's all part of what you could sell. A sales career with NRG lets you make a real difference. Get more info and apply online at nrgmedia.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome in. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley. I'm Gary, Peter Mann, who's here behind the board, Jimmy Allen to my left. A couple of programming notes before we get to the calls on the 42 Degree Source hotline. We will be carrying the Class B final tonight here on the Zone between Bennington and Scott. Kickoff at 7:15 at Memorial Stadium. And then tomorrow night we'll be carrying the Elkhorn South Omaha West Side Class A final. And then on Wednesday, the biggest and best drinking day of the year, we're going to start it off right by just hammering beers at the Super Hy-Vee in Gretna as our final road show of the regular season. We will be out in Gretna on Wednesday.
You a beer guy? Come off to me as a cocktail guy.
Excuse me?
You come off to me as a cocktail guy?
No.
Really?
What about me says that I'm a cocktail guy?
Kind of a classy gentleman, Gary.
Because I sat next to a guy coming home on the plane last night, was just hammering beers. Boy,
Little Sunday night special.
Oh, boy, he smelled.
I don't know if I'd rather sit next to somebody drinking beer.
He was a big guy. He smelled. He was drinking beers. Man, the plane was about to take off from DIA late last night, and he's talking on his phone. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get my phone out because there's going to be a viral moment here.
Here we go.
And the guy goes, he goes, where are you from? And I said, Omaha. And he said, oh, I'm from Sioux City.
That was the end of the conversation.
That was the end of the conversation.
Oh, I'm from Sioux City. Stewardess, can I get a shooter, please?
Here is Gary to kick off the morning. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning. How are the Dots?
They were fantastic.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
I'll kick off your frustration show. Help me understand why a coach that is so excited about bringing and playing fullbacks puts a quarterback into the shotgun on 4th and 2 and gives it to the running back, and we don't make that first down. That's one. Two, help me understand why we throw a Hail Mary pass in the end zone again, instead of using the time to run the ball and put our field goal kicker in a place where he can be successful when he missed that first field goal. Have a great day.
Well, it's going to be one of those mornings.
The more frustrating part about that throw to the end zone was to the shortest wide receiver on the field also. And you also have a guy in Jalen Lloyd that ripped one off earlier that wasn't even involved in that play. That's where my frustration came from.
Part about running so this is a debate of going 4th and 1, shotgun going under center. I will tell you, I think one of the biggest plays of that entire game Saturday night was when Ben Scott got blown up and
what happened twice.
They stopped Wisconsin, or Wisconsin stopped Nebraska on 4th and 1. That is going to, the more I look at that play and then what happened afterwards, that play is going to rise up to maybe the most important play of the game.
It's where all the momentum switched.
Exactly.
Yeah. And another thing to remember
and then complementary football went out the window when you needed a cut stopper and you had a stretch of play where all of a sudden, bad punt, Wisconsin gets a touchdown after they stop them 4th and 1. Whether you want to go for the field goal or not, now that's going to be about a 50-yard field goal, is Wisconsin scores, then that's the Buschini 19-yard punt, leads to the Wisconsin field goal. Next thing you know, it's 14-10. And your 2-touchdown lead on the road against a team that's beaten you 9 straight is done. And Wisconsin all of a sudden had new life, and the crowd started to get into the game from people that were there that told me that kind of changed. And also you could see their whole sideline changed. And Nebraska was in a rut. I mean, Nebraska didn't do much after the initial scripting with Chuba on offense.
Well, I know a lot of people wanted to see Nebraska go under center and maybe do like a tush push. You got to remember that Chubb Purdy's dealing with a groin injury too. So it's not like you can really get under yourself and push. So yeah, I mean, it may be a better
center,
protection type thing too.
It's their preference. I prefer under center. I think just moving forward with one of the best plays in all of football is the quarterback sneak. I would have liked when the clock's winding down and you can see what, or at least you think you can see what they're trying to do at the end of regulation. God, I liked running the football. Emmett Johnson was just starting to lather up,
which is the weirdest thing because that seems to be a thing. It feels like he's getting better with touches, and then Anthony Grant's in the game.
Well, I think they looked at Anthony Grant as this is going to be a game where you're going to run between the tackles and need power. Okay, so you're going to need a guy that's going to be a battering ram. So Anthony Grant got more touches earlier, but definitely in the passing game, anytime they're going to throw the football, Emmett Johnson is on the field. Now, Emmett was out there. This is the most, most activity he has gotten in terms of being on the field. But I know what you're saying. I think that's why they approached Anthony Grant, because I was a little surprised. I thought Anthony Grant's time was about done. But I'm here to tell you, this is plain as day, and I was so wrong on him. Emmett Johnson's in the mix to not just be the third down guy that can do run the ball or catch the ball. Emmett Johnson is in the mix to be RB1 next year.
His pass blocking has gotten a lot better too.
If I'm Ramir Johnson, I'm like, whoa, we're kind of like the same kind of running back, aren't we? I mean, that has to factor into things. All right, back to the phones we go. Here is Mike. Good morning, Mike. Mike? All right, Mike, call back. I know you will. Here is Josh. Morning, Josh.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, buddy.
So I got two thoughts that I want to get your thoughts on, Gary and Jimmy, and I'll get right to it. For what it's worth, I felt that Chuba played as well as a third-string quarterback.
Yes.
With limited first-team reps throughout the season, nursing a groin injury to play, especially given the circumstances and situations he was put in by Setterfield. So when you're watching the plays, right, you see the pocket eventually collapse, you see Chuba rolling out. Everybody's assuming that the offensive line is playing poorly and Chuba's just looking to scramble and he's not looking downfield.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it looked like Chuba was looking downfield. I thought one of the biggest things that lead to these issues is that our receivers are not getting separation at all. I mean, even the one that Chuba threw right down the seam to Malachi was contested. It was a great pass, great catch, but it was contested. So was that nice slant that he threw to Billy on the back hip. If he would have thrown that and let him, it would have been broken up. And the second thing I want to get to is generally I give the officials and umpires the benefit of the doubt, but the Big Ten has to do better. So you already addressed the elephant in the room with the Braylon Edwards trip. But my gosh, man, Nash Hutmacher was getting held. And so was Ty Robinson almost every play. With that, I'll hang up and listen.
Josh, thank you. And that's when you play Wisconsin, you know that's going to be a thing. They've been doing it for forever. It's not just a Wisconsin versus Nebraska thing. Wisconsin is one of those offensive lines that holds. Watch any Wisconsin game.
And they get the benefit of the doubt because how dominant they've been.
But you know how holding is called. I mean, they call it once, you're like, whoa. But the tripping thing is egregious because that is right out in the open field where everybody can see it.
And it was almost zoomed in on by the sky cam.
And you had a guy that got injured.
Yeah.
You had a guy that got injured on the play. It goes, I mean, you could be looking at 2nd and 25 there in the overtime. 2nd and 25.
It's
Instead,
totally different.
you get Mordecai steps up and he scampers all the way down into the shadow of the goal line. That is a huge play. Is it the thing that changed the entire game? No, but it is a significant play that was obvious right in front of the officials. Again, it wasn't, sometimes tripping is clouded up in the line of scrimmage. An offensive lineman falling down will leg whip a guy. That was right.
Yeah, there was nobody but the ball carrier around.
That was
around
right
that
there.
position.
I mean, you could be taken back and go, oh, man, Braylon Allen fell backwards. But his legs just didn't stay straight up in the air. He knew that Henrich was coming and had a beeline right for Mordecai. And what does he do? He trips him up.
He rolled his hips to stick with him.
He and Josh is right about. So this is the evolution of these wide receivers.
Yeah, they're all still freshmen, by the way, outside of boot camp.
I think we got to stop with that because now they played enough football games. Yeah, they're still a freshman and they're still learning. They also have been in a situation where I don't think it's easy to catch a Harburg ball. Okay, it's a ball that rises.
And to Josh's point, that throw to Kemp on the back hip, that might have been the best throw from a quarterback all year.
So Purdy threw a more wide receiver friendly ball, but that's been an issue all year is the separation by the wide receivers. They targeted Billy Kemp a lot. You know how Harburg, his safety valve is Fedoni. Purdy, his safety valve was Kemp. And I wonder, because what was he? Was he 10 targets?
9.
Nine targets? I wonder how many times he was the primary wide receiver. I think a lot was the one-read offense that was going on. Now, Purdy did things that I think are more in line with what a Satterfield offense would like to do. Here's the thing with Purdy, and revoke any media member in our group that asks a question today about who should be the starting quarterback on Friday. I'm telling you, if there's a media person, and I'm kind of saying this sarcastically.
Yeah, of
but
course. Yeah, the debate's over.
I'm serious. If you are a media person and you ask Rule today, who's starting on Friday, hand in your credential. Take the weekend off, take the family, go out of town for Thanksgiving. Chuba Purdy is your starter on Friday, unless his groin has fallen off between the end of the game and today.
Oh, we got bigger problems.
and if that's the case, God, that would hurt.
Yeah, I'm
okay,
out.
He's your guy. But here, and this is a question that's being asked of, did Nebraska, Sharp, you've been saying that the quarterback for 2024 is not on campus. Did you not see what 274 yards of total offense did? And what was Purdy? Was he 75% of their total yards? Some crazy stat like that. I'm sorry I don't have it right off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm not
but
sure.
Here, ask me that question after Friday about what Purdy's role is moving forward, because Wisconsin adjusted. The script wasn't there. Nebraska's offense kind of hit the wall.
Yeah, what does it look like when it's on
Now-
film?
Well, because now Iowa has a full game of film. This is a big short week for Purdy on film study. He's the guy, because you never know. He had started last year against Minnesota and Michigan. I said this on Friday. You never know what a quarterback's going to look like when they have a meaningful start. I liked him against Michigan last year, and then he got hurt. I liked him for the most part on Saturday. He is your guy on Friday, but it's a big week for him because Iowa has tape. Iowa will adjust, and Iowa shut down Illinois' run game.
Late.
Okay, so
adjustments.
It kind of now it puts it back into the hands of Purdy. This is if he's in the mix for 2024, he's going to answer your question on Friday, because he's now got a game under his belt where he's got a new OC. When they're working together as the ones, what did they design for this game? So if you're saying, hey, is Purdy the guy for 24? Let's hold that question. I think it's a fair question because it shows you how bad the quarterback room has been. And
Well,
then
it showed you how well he played on.
Well,
on
then let's
Saturday,
answer it after Friday.
To answer your question,
because I'm not into the hey man, I like the build up. Okay, I don't like the wham bam, thank you ma'am. I like to build it up. I like long term. I don't like just the instant gratification. I like it to be in there for a while.
To answer your question,
Welcome to Monday.
78%.
Thank you
of
my
the
man.
offense.
You are my stat guy. That's
You're
why you're
welcome,
an
man.
actuary.
I did math real fast.
Stat that.
All right, Ryan's going to finish the hour here on the 42 Degree Source Hotline. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning. How are you, Gary?
Good. How are you, Ryan?
Good. Hey, real quick here, something that you said, I think it was on Severe Reaction yesterday, that kind of just stuck with me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of an unbelievable Northwestern with a guy that's never been a head coach before. It's going to make a bowl. And, well, I guess we still can, but doesn't look very likely. I don't know. I don't have a very good feeling about Matt Rule right now. I just don't.
Okay, so let me
we just played
go
three
ahead.
teams that we should have beat. And
Yep.
You can't beat these teams, really?
It's an opportunity that probably will not come your way. But so let me ask you, Ryan, because we got the same kind of reaction on Saturday night, and I'm sure we'll be out throughout the week as you assess the 23 season. So when you say you're kind of out on Rule, are you out for this season, but there's enough that you've seen that you're encouraged by 24? Or are we talking about, uh-oh?
I haven't really seen anything encouraging. I mean, maybe the defense, but what is he? I mean, you tell me what looks different to you. Special teams is not that great.
Well, and I think with Alvano, he's changed his approach to how he's kicking field goals midway through the season too. I'm interested to see how that plays out long term.
Well, okay, so Ryan, let me. This is a good, because you were like a lot of people that, and you've called before, and I always appreciate your call because you got a ton of passion. So let's do this, because I think this is going to help other people. They're going to follow up and they're going to respond to this. What was your expectation coming into the season?
You mean win? You mean by
Yeah. Wins are fine. Yeah.
I'd say 7.
Okay.
7 5, 8 and 4 was kind of where I was at.
Can I ask you why you thought they would get to 7 and 8? Was it the Rule factor? Was it the talent? Was it the schedule that you didn't know that would kind of fall into their lap?
It was more or less Rule track record.
Okay.
And I knew if we had a guy that was 100%, or at least I thought 100% locked. I'm not saying he's not locked in, but I mean 100% locked in, brought in the coaching staff. I thought, well, we have enough good players. I thought we had enough players to win 8 ball games, 7, 8 ball games. Yeah.
Okay.
That was my justification.
When they got to 5-3 before they went to Michigan State, did your expectations change?
Well,
Or were they the same?
No, because we'd still be 7-5, but I didn't have a good feeling about that Michigan State game. I knew that was. I mean, I just didn't. There's something weird about it, but.
So if they don't win on Friday, 5-7 is a disappointing season for you.
Absolutely.
Okay. There's a tinge of disappointment if you finish the year 5-7. We're together on that, Ryan. Ryan, as always, I appreciate the call. Thank you, my man.
Okay.
Were you disappointed that Ryan didn't continue your innuendos? Did you call it a severe reaction?
No.
Okay, I was checking the score.
Michael and I are on the same page about the end of regulation. I just want to know what the plan was, because this is what I fear.
Is the scary answer they didn't know? They didn't know what the plan was? That's the scary answer, right?
I don't know. Jimmy, I can't. There's no way. It's not like they didn't have a plan. But here's what I think. The clock management is the easy phrase to use. I'm going to give you a different thing because the head coach and the OC are together. And it's not just clock management. We saw it at the beginning of the year. It's at the end of halves. It's at the end of games. I think a weakness for Rule, and remember, you can lessen your weaknesses by building on your strengths.
Right.
Situational readiness is the phrase I'm going to use. That I think that is not good for Matt Rule right now is situational readiness. He's not alone. You watch college football, you watch even the NFL, situational readiness is a glaring thing if you don't have enough strengths to overcome it. And I think situational readiness isn't just the time and score on the clock, but it's also, are we going to take the wind? What goal are we going to defend? How are we going to play, get the ball to begin the game or get the ball to begin the third quarter? And situational readiness, Tony White is really good at this. His guys, quick change defense, this is the best Nebraska's been in a while because the defensive coordinator is situational ready. He prepares his guy that way. And I think Tony White's got that mindset. That's why when Tony White becomes a head coach, I'll be fascinated to see what really becomes his strength.
That Syracuse job just opened up, by the way.
I mean,
not quite sure I understand letting Dino go.
And
you haven't watched much Syracuse football this year.
But that's kind of my point, though.
Dino was good at Bowling Green. All those MAC coaches, they take the jump up. Some situations are better than others, but most of them don't become Matt Campbell.
They've hung their hat on that defense for a long time out there, and it doesn't look like it did now.
But his DC is very good situational readiness. I think the OC and the head coach, that's something that is still a work in progress, and it's being ready when you all of a sudden go from, man, I'm great calling plays between the 25-yard line. But boy, once we get into the 25, what are we going to do? And that's why I use the word situational readiness of looking at the end of that game on, okay, we're going to run this play. And if it gets 7, boy, all of a sudden we're at the 19-yard line. This is what we're going to do. Instead of, oh boy.
Oh no, we're at the 19-yard line.
all of a sudden, Jimmy and Peter, we're thinking, we're designing to get to a field goal. But all of a sudden, holy crap, we might have a chance to win the football game. That's where I want to know, what was the plan? Did the plan become scattershot because of the communication upstairs, downstairs to the field? What happened in that moment? Did you change your philosophy and there just was not enough good communication that the clock is winding and then you're like,
I promised you I was going to bail out Matt Rule's clock management. And here's how I'm going to do it. You referenced earlier that this is a quarterback that was probably getting 12% of reps.
If that.
At this point in the season.
Remember, the family was ready to shut him down. He was going to have groin surgery.
And
that groin did look pretty good, except for a little tweak. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was on that final drive of regulation, but continue.
Is that the first time you said that groin looks really good on this show today? Probably not the last. Anyway, I think it's important to remember that the top 3 wide receivers that were supposed to be there at the beginning of the season are not there. So situational readiness, it might be a level of impossibility with the amount of change that you've had from the beginning of this season, because the work, basically 90% of the work you put in the offseason is thrown out the window because those guys aren't there. You're down to you've lost your top 2 running backs as well. And nobody, after Chuba hurt his groin in the third week of practice, and thought this was going to be a possibility anyway. So has it been a little bit? No, it's been very disappointing. Yes, but I just wonder how much you can prepare that group that was out there on Saturday for the situations that they were going to be in before they present themselves.
I think that's what they do in practice.
Right.
They run,
but in a
practice.
very, very, very small sample
Yeah,
size.
I think you're mixing the game operation with the game personnel.
I just don't know how many times you can rep that situation with the personnel you have available, and I think that matters too.
There's some weaknesses that all coaches have. You just have to be able to play to your strengths where your weaknesses don't come back to bite you. All coaches have it. Even Saban has some weaknesses, but man, he has a lot of strengths where those weaknesses don't rear their ugly head. At the end of the day, folks, this is what it might come down to. Not might. It comes down to having dudes.
Yeah.
Dudes that make plays. Nebraska is 0-4 in the rule in one-score games. That stat is out there for Frost and everybody and how it plagues Nebraska. When Nebraska wasn't losing one-score games, who was that dude that was an eraser?
So you got a couple, right?
He was wearing number 8.
Yeah, you got Amir Abdullah.
It can be a mental.
Before him, that guy was wearing 10.
It can be a mental thing, but when you need a play and you need a cut stopper, you have that guy and he helps you out. Nebraska doesn't have enough of those guys right now, and they don't, as a core, can't overcome that in games where it's like, what do we do? It can be mental, it can be physical, but why Iowa wins those kind of games is they have somebody that makes a play. Why Nebraska can't get over the hump is, of late, is they don't have that one guy that makes a play, that changes the game on their own. They don't have to be the quarterback. They don't have to be the running back. They can be the punter. They can be the place kicker. They can be the kick returner. They can be the punt returner. They don't have that guy on this current roster that can cover up some of the warts. And Iowa has warts, but man, when they need a play in those tight games, I give them credit. They have somebody who steps up and makes a play. Caleb Johnson, not the best running back in the Big Ten, made a play on Saturday when they needed a play. That's what plagues Nebraska in these games, is they don't have that one guy that steps up and says, not today, it's my time, I'm going to make a play.
And I think the frustrating thing for Nebraska fans is it often feels like they have a guy that's building towards that, and when they get in that situation, they go away from the guy that they've been leaning on for the majority of the game.
All right. Is this Mike?
This is Mike from earlier.
What happened?
He's not sure. He wasn't sure. Connection lost.
Oh, okay. So we didn't get him.
We had him, and then he
asked him to call
just
back.
dropped his connection,
Oh, okay.
but he called back.
All right. Mike, thanks for calling back. I appreciate it, my man.
Hey, great. How you guys doing?
Good. I
Fantastic.
thought
Beautiful
this
morning
was
out
you.
here.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yep, in Pennsylvania today, buddy.
Wow. You are racking up
Yeah,
some miles.
beautiful.
You gonna make it back this way before Thanksgiving?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All
I'll
right.
fly back tonight.
All right.
But there's a few things that we've already touched on that I wanted to comment on, but there's some other things too. Our tight ends can't block. 84 and 24 cannot block. They cannot do it on screen plays, or you just need that one more block. If they don't get it, they're late. That happens constantly, I think. And then I'm with the people that Johnson's he's building momentum, then all of a sudden he's gone and Grant's in there, which is fine, I guess. But I don't know why. Just keep pushing Johnson if it's working. And then you guys talking about Matt Rule and situation. Here it is, man. Read the room. He's got to learn to read the game. I think he did not read the game, or the OC didn't either. We were moving the ball. We had Wisconsin on their heels, and they played for the field goal Saturday.
So, Mike,
that.
Mike, did you think that Nebraska was, when they got the ball back, Nebraska was going to just go to get in position to field goal, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Whoa, we might have a chance to win it." Now, I'm I'm just throwing that out there. That's not how I'm feeling, but I'm trying to figure out the plan. I'm trying to figure out the plan is what I'm getting at.
Well, the plan is obviously to get a field goal and tie it up first. But when you got, Johnson was at 7 yards, we still have 3 timeouts. It was everybody's already said it's been poor clock management. All that's all true. But Wisconsin's on their heels, man. You're ripping off yards. I'm like, go for the touchdown. But I think the week before that scared him. Right?
Yeah, I
had to have scared him.
Mike, I'm with you. I think there were a lot of things that were going through of last week. There's that turnover that's sitting out there. This week in your mantra, I think all of that was colliding. I also wonder, and maybe we'll hear this, we heard about the dysfunction in that Colorado game out in Boulder in 19 between upstairs and downstairs late in the game where Nebraska had a meltdown and it just, going into overtime. I'm wondering if I would have loved to hear the chatter on the headsets when that drive was unfolding, because I think there was such a range of opinions on, okay, let's do this. Oh, no. Now we got, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What we got, guys? What do we got?
And it almost looks like it on the facial expressions on the sideline.
Yeah,
too.
and
then one more thing, Gary. Why is it on? And I'm with you. And when it's 4th and 1, and you get a chance in the second quarter there and go up, and I love going for it. But why do we run that play? Why can't we run a bootleg? Why can't we fake? Why can't we bring in the fullback, bring in an eye back, and just act like you're going to run it in there? And all you need is a yard, and then pull it and go, or anything. I mean, every time it's shotgun right up the middle, and that's just a terrible play call when everybody knows that what you're going to try to do.
And it didn't help that Scott got blown up. Yep.
No, I know, and I see the other people they say, well, it should be able to get 1 yard, should be able to get one. Well, you know what? Be a little, I don't know what
creative.
I'm trying to say, but yes, there you go. Be creative. My God, we needed 1 yard, and that game is totally different.
Yep, and that's why they went for it on 4th and 1. Mike, thanks for the phone call. They got bailed out, but
to your point, it doesn't matter what you run if your center is about 3 yards from the backfield.
I tell you what. Until they abandoned the running game and they said let's be Air Nebraska, man, I like the option. I did not like the option at the beginning of overtime. I tell you what, the toss into the boundary, they haven't run that a lot. I mean, I like some of the things they did running the ball. It's just they got stonewalled, and then they became, all right, are we going to be aggressive? Are we going to stay aggressive here? Or are we going to dial it back down? That's all that situational readiness.
And there doesn't seem to be any kind of consistency towards that either.
Well, there's a thing called sequencing too that we'll discuss a little bit later. All right, we are way past. Lines are open for you. This is y'all's morning, because this is a great week. It's hate week. Iowa's here. I got Iowa JD's busting my balls here. He's like, you know what? Ferentz might rest starters. Get out of here. Okay?
Starters.
You don't think you want to be Iowa? Iowa could be.
Would that be the greatest flex ever? Though?
Iowa. You know what? Well, I don't want to go there. I mean, Iowa could be looking at a 3-game losing streak to end the year. They lose in Nebraska. They lose the Big Ten game. They lose their bowl game. Yeah, you don't think 10-2? Get out of here with that stuff. Iowa's coming here to win a football game. You don't think they want to be 10-2? You don't think Kirk wants to beat Nebraska? Okay.
Well, if they lose 3 straight, they might have to fire their offensive coordinator too.
I got a Powerade.
That's already done.
There's Jimmy. The Peter Man is here as well. I'm Gary. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio. This is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have one accident to report that has the right lane blocked westbound along I-80 at 24th Street, so please be cautious if you're in that area. Along Center, there's going to be a bit of a slowdown from 192nd to 180th, and other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth, even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery hopes you have yourself a classic little Christmas by entering non-winning holiday classic scratch tickets for a chance to win $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, or or $20,000. Top prize odds vary by game. Promotion ends January 3rd, 2024.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Severe for Ted and Wally's Premium Ice Cream. You know, we always have conversations around the holidays about what you can do for dessert, right? And there's so many people that love so many different types of desserts, whether it is a cake or a pie. But you know what goes with both of those perfectly? It is ice cream, and it's ice cream from Ted and Wally's. 2 locations, as you know, one in Benson, and of course in the Old Market. If you want to do this, you got to do it ahead of time. Pre-order, whether it's a pint or a quart or half gallons, whether you're having a fall party or if it's for Thanksgiving as well. It's right around the corner, and you got to have dessert right. Sure, the entrees are important. The sides are important, but everybody comes for the dessert. You know what I'm talking about. You got to grab your dessert and get it early, whether it's a tailgate party or if it's for Thanksgiving or just something you're doing during the fall. Head over to Ted and Wally's now. Put your order in early. Stop by, whether it's the Benson location or the Old Market location, and get you some premium ice cream right now. And of course, when you go to Ted and Wally's, tell them Severe sent.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
If you drive through your neighborhood and think, pretty house, ew, my house. Time to call Great Plains Home Exteriors. They transform homes like yours all over Nebraska. Great Plains Home Exteriors offers so many different window brands and styles to fit every home and budget. They also install gutters and gutter guards so you never have to clean your gutters again. Great Plains Home Exteriors will make your home feel like a part of the neighborhood. Free estimate at gphomeomaha.com.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Hey, it's Ashley from Saul's. This holiday, Saul's is the place to stretch your budget and give amazing designer gifts for up to half off retail. We're also buying your luxury brand items to help you freshen up your style this holiday season. Designer gifts for less at Saul's.
It hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, I never smoked a cigarette. How in the hell did I get lung cancer?
I don't smoke. I've never smoked. So I started Googling. One word just kept coming up, like it was in bold and red, and it was radon.
Radon is the number 2 cause of lung cancer.
Well, you don't know if it's in your home. You got to test. You can't see it. You can't taste it. You can't smell it.
What's your level? Radon Defense Midwest can help. Visit radonradio.com for a special offer. That's radonradio.com.
Thank you, Maverick fans. Your Omaha Maverick hockey team is coming off 2 sellouts. And because of you, they are the hottest ticket in town. Omaha Maverick hockey takes on the Augustana Vikings November 24th and NCHC Power St. Cloud on December 8th and 9th at Baxter Arena. Let's pack the Baxter. Get your tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/tigs. Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620, The Zone.
We've got an update on this Monday morning. So it was a pretty busy weekend with some local sports. Volleyball Capital of America proving why once again. Creighton clinching their 10th straight Big East title, and Nebraska clinching its first outright Big Ten title since 2016. Nebraska soccer is moving on to the Elite Eight, and they will play Stanford this Friday with a berth to the College Cup on the line. The Creighton women took the win over Nebraska basketball yesterday off a red-hot shooting start, 8 of 13 from 3 in the first quarter.
Wearing the sweet powder blue unis, too.
Those did look good. UNO hockey earned a hard-earned split with number 2 Denver this weekend following a rather bizarre Saturday game where the game was postponed until Sunday at the start of the second period from a pipe burst and causing the ice to deform. That's definitely a first for me. I had never heard of such a thing, but I'm sure it's happened before at some point. Angel Reese of LSU, what's going on with that? Nobody really knows. There was a lot of beef with fellow teammates' mom online talking about low GPAs, why she hasn't been playing. She did finally respond kind of cryptically saying, please don't believe everything you read. So who knows when she will return to the court. Last night, officials overturned a Kevin Durant foul in double overtime, and the Suns went on to win 140-137 over the Jazz in what was probably the most entertaining game of the young season so far. The Broncos, 4 straight, get the win over the Vikings on Sunday Night Football and a thrilling finish there. But tonight, potential for game of the year, I think. Super Bowl rematch, Chiefs and Eagles. I did see that the Monday night crew, Gary's got the hoodie on, did go to Q39 yesterday and looked like they enjoyed themselves. Although Gary, what have you been to Q39? What are your thoughts?
Yes. Good.
Yeah, pretty good stuff.
I still haven't made it. Somehow.
Yeah, you know what? I'm probably I'm probably in a small minority on this. I like the OG Gates and Sons downtown on 18th.
I'm an Arthur Bryant's guy.
Yeah, I like Arthur Bryant's as well. I mean, there's a handful of places you can't go wrong. For barbecue in Kansas City. I just know the first barbecue place I ever went to. The late Ed Charles, who was the third baseman for the Mets back in the late 60s.
You remember that?
One of my dad's best friends, and we would go down and visit the Charles in Kansas City.
Very cool.
And for it was quite the experience, and he was such a nice gentleman. But I remember one of my first memories is he took us to Gates and Sons, and we walked in and everybody knew Ed. And so I've always been like a Gates and Sons. I know it's not if you ask a Kansas City, and it's not going to be at the top, but there's many places you can't go wrong.
I don't mean to be that guy. And I know what your response is going to be, but I can't handle the spice at Gates. It's too spicy for me.
Fine. Well, I
get judged a lot.
And everybody regional, like if you go to North Carolina, they're going to tell you the barbecue in Kansas City sucks. People in St. Louis are going to tell you the barbecue in Kansas City sucks because our barbecue is different.
It's better.
In North Carolina barbecue, which I've had a lot of, it tastes different than Kansas City barbecue. So, all right. Kansas City, in my opinion, needs that game more than Philadelphia.
100%.
Yeah. Oh, and I did find, so for the first time since 1969, we kind of mentioned this earlier, the Browns and Lions, winners of the 7 of their first 10 at least.
All right. Thank you, Peter. What will people get more upset with tonight? The discussion about the Kelseys?
Yes. I don't care what the
Taylor
next question
Swift or the tush push?
Definitely the Kelseys, just because I think there's fatigue from the Super Bowl as well.
I did see
how
that
you stay away from the discussion about that? You stay out of that situation.
There might be a meeting of the Kelsey and Swift parents tonight. I'm sure that will be mentioned.
Probably shown on television.
Probably.
She's not even going to be there?
And she's
her
not even
parents
gonna be
are
there,
going?
No, she has a job, Jimmy.
But why are her parents
She's on
going?
tour.
She's not going to be there. That's weird.
I mean, it's
meeting your daughter's boyfriend's parents for the first time while she's not there.
Her
That's
dad has
odd.
already met Travis. He was at the show in Argentina.
Oh, that's right. They were on video together. That's right. Okay.
I mean, she's got to own it. She says she's an Eagles fan, and now she's a Chiefs fan.
How much does her mom hate this, or his mom hate this?
Oh, she loves this.
No, she does not.
Donna Kelsey.
Look
She is
at
a
any video
celebrity.
or picture of them sitting next to the Taylor Swift thing, not being a celebrity. She looks like she's ready to stab her.
Whoa, that is what are you talking
Look
about?
at her face. Donna Kelsey looks like a normally happy person all the time. Look at her when she's sitting next to Taylor Swift.
I want to know what the group dynamic is.
What's happening here? Get out of here.
I want to know what the group dynamic of Taylor and Patrick's wife, Brittany, now bringing her into the fold with all these other A-list celebrities. Are they like, who? What is happening here?
That's the question we have right now, Peter.
I want to talk football. Okay, the Chiefs and the Eagles tonight.
Tell your tight end to pick better girlfriend choices. We wouldn't be having these conversations.
How long do we think Brandon Staley has?
Jimmy!
That's what I want to know.
6 minutes.
Time out.
6 minutes.
1 minute. I get 1 minute on this, and I'm not talking about this the rest of the week. What do you mean make better choices?
No, who's enjoying this?
Have you not seen them together?
Yeah,
That's like
it's
real.
awful and forced.
She's gonna get done with her tour. She's ready to settle down. She's 34. She's ready to have kids. They're gonna get married soon. They're gonna have kids.
When her tour is over, this relationship is gonna last 18 seconds.
It's on the whiteboard in here from Josh Hudson. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift will not be together at Christmas.
But put Jimmy Allen underneath.
They're going to get married and they're gonna have kids.
Oh, God help us all.
If you don't like her music, that's fine. But
I
think
like
you're
Taylor
I think
Swift.
you're taking swipes at her as a person.
I like Taylor Swift. I'm just saying it's very apparent Travis Kelce's mother does not.
Do you have a black and white TV?
She
You're not
opened
able
up
to
the
see it?
service. I'm Googling pictures for you.
Let's get into some emails here in the Equitable Bank inbox. Nebraska and Iowa.
I was gonna say, has anybody noticed the 4-letter word hasn't been dropped yet since we started this show? Nobody called in and mentioned the black and gold team yet.
Iowa?
Yeah, no. Everybody's been talking about Wisconsin. How much different is that if that's a win on Saturday night? What are you
doing over there?
Not one of those callers mentioned
All right.
Iowa. It's true.
Okay, so there's a lot off the Wisconsin game. There's so many moments in the game, from the stop that changed the game when Wisconsin's down 14-0, the way the game started with Purdy's touchdown run, the beautiful skinny post to Jalen Lloyd where he bounced off a defender and sprinted in the end zone, to what happened in the middle portion of the game, to what happened at the end of regulation overtime. There was so much to digest on Saturday night. This is an email from Adam that we kind of brought up that is a key part of what I said. Nebraska failed when at key moments to play complementary football. Adam writes in about the possible punt block. Good morning, fellas. Not sure what quarter it was. Maybe towards the end of the game, Nebraska defender looked like he had a good chance of blocking the punt, Kobe Bretz.
Yep.
And just kind of gave up laying out to block it. That was a head shaker. I said on Big Red Overreaction, man, that Wisconsin handed Nebraska on a silver platter a punt block. And I'm not sure what went through Kobe's head. And I'd like to ask.
Was he surprised that he had the chance at it? I mean,
well, and then
a little
there's
bit of a shock
probably
value.
Man, what if I don't get it? There's going to be roughing the punter.
Yeah,
there's
that's
all
more
of that
of it.
stuff. But damn, in a game like that where plays like that get magnified, that was a prime opportunity that.
Which is surprising because for a kid,
I don't know what he was thinking. That's a question. I go. You just got to go. What was your mindset?
He got such a good jump on it that I think if he laid out a little bit, he wouldn't even have blocked it with his hand. It would have been like his.
Maybe that's a better question for his
position
coach, because Ed Foley again did not have a good night.
And that's a dude in Kobe
Saturday
Bretz
night
that is normally very aggressive and confident in what he does
in
too.
Games like this where Nebraska's margin of error, because of the way they're currently built, is so small that and that's why I keep saying opportunity to win football games and get to a bowl game is your margin of error for a program and for in-game is so small that you have to have so many things go right to have success. And it might be just even minimal success, that to have a missed opportunity like that would have been a game changer, and you miss it, it always seems to come back. And, Nebraska rarely takes advantage of good fortune. Isn't that wild?
Well, isn't
that wild, guys?
That's the weird thing about
Nebraska
this.
rarely takes advantage of good fortune.
Well, I don't think we talked about this without referencing. This is a unit that's already blocked a punt for a touchdown already this season, and seen how much that could benefit and change a game. So it's not like they haven't done that once this year. This is a unit that's already done it and seen the repercussions of it in a positive way from being able to do this. So it's not like, this is a first-time opportunity. They've seen the chance to block a punt and don't know what the results will be.
Adam, thanks for the email. Fitzy writes in. This is a little bit long. Let me. Okay. This is about the Iowa game. You're all out on the Iowa game, right?
What do you mean all out?
You're all out?
I think they can win it.
Okay. Other people today did not think that Nebraska is going to win. They're now a point.
That'll
and a half
change
favorite.
by Wednesday.
Don't focus on the spread. Let's focus on getting that total down to about 25. I actually like the matchup with Iowa this week. This defense should look better, and they will not be dinked and dunked to death. You are spot on.
Correct.
It's the first time this year that you saw a team. Now, we've seen the Michigan and the Colorado with big chunk plays, but just the surgical dink and dunk, which Wisconsin was into, you had not seen that against this defense this year. This defense should look better. They will not be dunked to death, so they can concentrate against the run. And I'm not sure Iowa in the red zone is anything to be scared of. The problem comes with the special teams and field position and Nebraska's ability to run the ball effectively when needed. I think with Purdy, the offense may have some ability to loosen up the defense just enough to get the 10 to 12 points, which may be all that's needed to win the game. On the end of clock management, I think Rule still has an NFL mentality when approaching the end of the game. Interesting. Okay, I can see where you're going here. The first objective should be to score and win the game, not play to tie or go to overtime and make sure no time is left on the clock. I also thought about it's not everything that goes into the end of game trying to figure out scenarios to win. There is part of me going back and watching it yesterday, the last possession, that I thought, man, I wonder if they're thinking, we're going to score, but let's don't score soon enough to give Wisconsin time. Because you see that across football. There was a little part of me that I went, I wonder if because I was trying to figure out everything about the why. That is a great point. And then the week before, why wouldn't you take a field goal in the lead as opposed to taking a score touchdown with 3 minutes left? Let me just insert. That's why last week, and this Maryland and Wisconsin are different. One, Maryland was going to get the ball back.
Apples to oranges, yeah.
This one was to finish the game or go to overtime. Give me the lead regardless of how much time is left, and if they come down and score, then tip your hat to them. But the defense has been in control and, for the most part, held both teams down throughout the majority of the game. Get the lead and see what happens. It's so frustrating to watch this team dribble it down their leg time after time with poor decision-making. Fritzy, thanks for the email.
Yeah, about the dinking and dunking thing, I think it's important to remember Tanner Mordecai has played 6 years of college football.
Is that the knockoff of Dunkin' Donuts? Somebody that was a disgruntled employee that leaves the company and opens up a dinking and dunking.
Is that $1 million idea?
Oh, you're the man. You're
Welcome
the,
to Ding
you're
Dang
the
Dunk,
smooth
get your
operator
donuts.
over there. Get on that. I would go and I'd move.
Let's franchise.
There's probably a nice little place right there by.
We could do light roast coffee instead of dark roast coffee.
Trex and Great Clips right across from the Dunkin' on 72nd. You could open the Dink and Dunk.
$1 million. We just made $1 million.
I can hear
7:30 on a Monday morning.
72nd is finally open to normal amount of lanes. Dear God, that was a long year or so.
Have a second with 42nd, or have a conversation with 42nd and F.
Before I get to another email, am I crazy to think?
Yes.
That's true. A lot of people told me that, male and female. Is Nebraska is better offensively between the 20s than they are inside of the 20s.
Does anybody not think that?
Like they're more, there's more of a plan, it seems like.
I think that's most of college football.
Yeah, but your moneymaker is the red zone, my man.
It seems like when they get in the red zone,
they build a network on Sundays all about the red zone.
Is this a direct response into the way 7-on-7 has changed football?
A little bit. That's a good point. Possibly be.
With how much emphasis is put on the pass game, that we have diminished the running back to an afterthought, that when you get in situations like this, you don't know what to do if it's not a 40-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah.
Back to situations.
Ross writes in. Now, Ross, this is a big week for him because Ross is a diehard Ohio State fan. And you have the mega game coming up in Ann Arbor on Saturday.
Ross is gonna like my thoughts.
This is the number one. This is the number one rivalry in all of college sports. Alums get after it. Fans get after it, whether you went to school there or not.
Is this the third year in a row they're both undefeated going into this game?
Yes,
I think maybe.
Game misses.
How good is Ohio State's defense?
Game misses Harbaugh. Oh, Michigan's a 3.5-point favorite. I loved what Ohio State did against Minnesota. I didn't necessarily like what Michigan did against Maryland. They kind of messed around. We'll see. The committee's got to be rooting for Ohio State. America's probably rooting for Ohio State.
I was going to say, I think everybody's rooting for Ohio State for the first time ever.
Ross writes in, so earlier in the show, talking about why does this keep happening that Nebraska can't get over the hump in one-score games? We could talk ourselves into a circle about this. But in my opinion, it's about dudes. Having a dude that makes a play. Not just a Jimmy and a Joe. It could be a James and a Joseph. But you got to, usually in these games, there's a dude that steps up and a dude makes a play at the right time. I use the phrase cut stopper. I tweeted it out. Nebraska needs a cut stopper in a big way. Well,
Who thought you were talking about running plays?
I'm trying to think. Did I tweet that out right before the Sanford play? Jesus, which is
Seems like a year ago.
One of the best plays of that entire game Saturday night is what Sanford did on the tackle. But Ross writes in, PJ Fleck's postgame presser the other day was really interesting. Ohio State blasted Minnesota 38-3. Almost sad to listen to him speak reality. He basically said they had better guys, they have more guys, and we need to find any way to get guys or we're never beating that team.
He's right.
It was 10 minutes in, but I thought it was pretty telling. That's the transition in the new Big Ten. You can be all about development. You can be about sound coaching on Saturdays. But when it's crunch time, you need dudes to go be dudes.
I want to retract my statement from a second ago.
You need dudes to go make plays and be dudes in crunch time.
Forgot Ohio State lost to Oregon in 21. I just wanted to get that in there. So no, this is the second year.
Second year. Okay.
But yeah, and I think that's even more important going forward now with the additions of the Washingtons and the USCs into the fold, because it's not just Ohio State and Michigan anymore.
Lego Maniac writes in, I can't even get into hate week. I can't even get into this game because Nebraska has zero chance to win. Nothing that the Nebraska media says this week will change my mind on that. All right. Zach, thanks for playing.
I don't know how you can look at that team across the river and say
Well,
they're unbeatable.
You got to understand the Lego Maniac. Lego Maniac's been at it for a while now. So he's been beaten down. He's more thinking on the Nebraska side. I don't think it's Deacon Hill's going to come in here and throw for 220. He did throw
be a bad day.
He did
be
throw
a bad
for
day.
167 against Illinois. Bellevue West Joey writes in, question. So say if Rule would have gotten aggressive at the end of the game, plays to win with an offense unit that leads the country in turnovers and doesn't get a score and we lose in regulation, would we be mad that he did not take the field goal?
Of course. It's hindsight. It's the same reason people were mad last week. If they punch that touchdown in, who's going, why did he throw it? It's hindsight.
I felt that he tried to get the score running the ball knowing he had a field goal in the back pocket. We're on the same page here.
Agreed.
Different circumstances with maybe a more experienced, healthy offense. He probably makes a different decision. Also, let's be happy. Husker basketball is 5-0. People forget that. Nebraska basketball crushed Oregon State.
That performance on Saturday was
People tell me that
good.
Oregon State is garbage. Oh, they're not as bad as DePaul. So I'm going to go with the mindset that was a good win for Nebraska at the Pentagon.
DePaul might be the worst Power 6 team in college basketball right now.
Lego Maniac has emailed back into the Equitable Bank
Got more
inbox.
thoughts?
He's back.
Nebraska will lose because of punting alone. Taylor against Bushini.
The punting has been
it's
rough.
been good except for one, maybe two punts a game. That's been the weirdest part.
Can we have a little backup here? Would you say good or just okay? Because I'm under the okay.
It's not been great.
Here. Before we get to Joe on
Hi,
the
Joe.
42 Degree Source Hotline, I'm going to go to the 4th and 1. Yeah, maybe you choose a different play, but also I did not envision Ben Scott getting absolutely crushed. So that got blown up. That play shifted that game because I knew once Nebraska got new life with roughing the passer and they moved the ball down the field, you know that they're thinking 21 love.
Here comes the dagger, yeah.
Boom. I mean, we are out in Madtown. We are going to have a jump around on our own. So that's the mindset of we haven't been in this situation before. Let's be aggressive. Be aggressive. Okay. But Wisconsin makes a good play. They blow up it and they get the ball back. What do? They score. And then all of a sudden, this is where I thought, ooh, the complementary part of bailing out the offense might be a little leaky because on the wheel route, the score that makes it 14-7, look at two guys who fundamentally have been pretty good this year. Reimer gets sucked in.
Yeah.
And then Bayor, I think he didn't know what he misdiagnosed what the play was. And all of a sudden they're out the back door and boom, they're gone. Now, so it's 14,
so you think
14,
Mekhi Bear is supposed to take the wheel route, not Ty
Right.
Robinson? Is that
Yeah.
what you're saying? Okay, I got you.
Then you have it's 14-7. Then look what happens. I mean, then you had the 19-yard punt. Okay, so you needed a boomer.
I
You
still
didn't
don't
get a
understand how
boomer.
that rolled that
Then
way.
also you had the 37-yard punt that was returned 25 yards. But then it's 14-10, and just like that, all of a sudden Wisconsin has life. Jimmy C sat here the other day and said, "Quit watch." I learned my lesson the week before about Michigan State. I thought they'd be on quit watch. They weren't. He said, "Wisconsin's on quit watch," and I said, "I don't know." Now, first couple of possessions for Nebraska on offense, I thought, Jesus, the
They're
way
not
they're
quit
tackling,
watching.
they're shoulder tackling, they're taking bad angles. Then that's also, you're on the sidelines, you're thinking, ooh, what is that team over there? We're going to go with a kill shot. But you know what? They got new life. Their defense made a play, and then Mordecai started to make play after play after play. It's 14-10. They have new life. And then you gave it right back to them. Because I'm going to tell you another area, we could break down this game for weeks.
We got a bunch of stuff we haven't even gotten into yet.
Here's another part of where I don't get what Nebraska was trying to do to begin the second half.
Michael Severe, the middle eight.
But you
could argue
that's
you could argue that's where that this game was lost.
-3.
They felt like they were playing from behind.
-3 yards, 1 yard, 16 yards, 8 yards. Those were your first 4 possessions of the second half. Essentially, after the first quarter till that last drive, Nebraska offensively was doing nothing. So what we're building up to, I'm trying to figure out the why on Rule's approach at the end. I think he's also going, man, we haven't done anything offensively.
Well, and here's been the most frustrating part about
But that
for
should
me
also
this
be
whole
we
season.
got a chance for a kill shot to win the football.
But the way you get to the kill shot is you set your offense up. It doesn't feel like their offense ever builds to anything.
Well, they have I don't think this is a strength of, and I know some people are going to laugh at me because I've had this discussion with you all that are listening. But Satterfield in terms of play calling. Now, Purdy is more his kind of quarterback. And Saturday was the first time that off the script, Nebraska was pretty good. Like pretty good.
Like 14 points good.
Well, they had things were working, but you also had a quarterback. So they ran the split verts. The 2 previous quarterbacks, they've thrown interceptions on those routes. This quarterback hit the wide receiver with a good ball that, Lloyd could catch.
Well, and the routes were ran properly too. I think that's important also.
Well, I don't think they always run routes really well. I mean, I think Malachi Coleman's got an issue. Okay. Malachi Coleman's got to learn that every play matters, whether you're involved in the play or not. Okay. He's got too much of an upside to
take plays off.
Not take plays off, but the attention to detail in running the proper route needs to be better. Okay. So that's a growth of him. He's got a huge upside, but you got to remember that every play matters, whether you're in the play or not. Okay.
Got to be one of 11.
And there's some times where he doesn't do that. But in terms of sequencing, I don't think that's a strength of Satterfield is sequencing. I will tell you another thing. If we would look at Satterfield differently, if Nebraska had a defense that took the ball away a lot.
Well, and that goes back to having the dudes that could be erasers or cut stoppers.
And Nebraska would be +6, not +6, but like +3 or 4 possessions.
Well, when you look at the wins this year, that's exactly what the difference is a key turnover.
Yeah, but the sequencing is not a strength where you build and you build and you build and you build.
I don't even know if it's not a strength. I think it's non-existent at this point.
Well, I mean, that to be successful, you got to find that.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, here is Joe before the break. We were a little long-winded there. We apologize. Joe, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good, Joe. How are you? How are we doing today? I know probably how you were feeling on Saturday.
It's the same song, the same dance. It is hard being a Cornhusker football fan, and it's been hard for a long time. But it's like we're in purgatory. I also want to mention the wrestling team. Flow Wrestling has us top 5. Almost everybody has us top 10. Starting off great. We're not into the meat of the season yet, but you know me. I always got to mention the wrestling team. But yeah, it's like we're the best, worst program in all of college football. We ain't been to a bowl game in I don't know how long. We're in purgatory. It's like 1 week it's this, 1 week it's that. 1 week we're down and we almost come back. 1 week we're up by 14 and then we, crumble at the end. And it's just heartbreaking. It's baffling. I think you're still right as far as some of what I was going to talk about is like every play matters. You get a punter that punts for like 19 yards and it's like, we were getting that with Caleb Lightbourne. It's like, how do we keep getting into situations where we got a punter that can look okay sometimes, and then all of a sudden in a game that matters where we need a punt, he punts it for like 19 yards, 17 yards. It's like, goodness gracious. We cannot seem to get out of, and it's, we keep saying it, we keep talking about it, we keep watching the games, and it is a state of purgatory that the Frank Solich, having him come back to Memorial Stadium, I don't know if that broke any curse. I don't know if there is a curse, but it is so hard being a Cornhusker fan. We don't get any breaks from the refs, and I'm not blaming the game on the refs, but it's like every game there's a couple calls that, like you just said,
the game wasn't decided by the refs, but we can all agree the non-tripping call was egregious.
Exactly, the trip was at a critical point, and it's a critical play, and it matters. Yeah. It matters, and it's like we're so tired of losing. We're so tired of all of it, of not getting a fair shake by the refs, and I really don't think we do. And I'm not blaming, the last 15 years. I'm not blaming every loss on the refs, but it does not seem like we get a fair shake. Maybe some of that's because
you create your own breaks.
Broken. What's that?
There's also the part of you got to create your own breaks.
You do. And some of what I was going to say is what you were talking about. You got to have somebody make a play. You got to have somebody make a play. So I'm going to end on, we keep saying that our NIL is competitive with everybody else. But sometimes in order to get a Jimmy, a Joe, or whoever, if everybody else is offering them 30 grand, we might have to offer them 50 grand. We might have to, up some of that a little bit just to get a guy here and there. Yeah, we're competitive. Yes, we can keep a lot of guys, and we can get a lot of guys, and we can offer what everybody else is offering them. But every once in a while, you're going to have to spend a little. And unfortunately, that's where we're at right now in college football. I don't agree with it all, but you're going to have to fork over a little bit of money to get a guy, a stud playmaker. And even then, it's a risk. You don't know if the guy's going to look at all the money Colorado's spent on their guys and, how their season ended up. But thanks for the time, guys.
Joe,
that's what I got.
Joe, appreciate the call. There's the part of the NIL is you got to spend money to make money. You also have to have a head coach that's comfortable with
doing that.
Yes, because the 1890 collective can't do anything without the head coach saying, this is where I'm comfortable, and rule to me, maybe a little old school thinking, and you're going to have to adjust in the new day and age to get what you want, is he's more into reward and retention. And that's what I thought when this first started. I thought, that's great. Reward guys for their play, retain guys. But we know that to get dudes that can be game changers, unless you've recruited them to your roster and you want to add them, you got to go out and spend a little money.
Does it surprise you how little we've talked about the lack of impact from guys that have transferred in with the Chief Borders, the Elijah Judys of the world, and how much they really haven't played into a factor much this season? Because I think a lot of people expected those two guys specifically to be more of an addition this season and a contributor than they have been. Not that they've played bad, they just played sparingly and haven't been like when Chief Borders got here, I looked at that guy and went, okay, that's a guy you're going to be able to factor in 5 to 8 tackles a game.
But I'm gonna balance you out here.
Sure. And I think it's a lot of because the rest of the guys have been playing well, but
your young guys have developed. Ty Robinson is going to the NFL, unfortunately for Nebraska.
Yeah, 100%.
He is. There are guys on defense that are flourishing late that we haven't seen in a while. He's going to the NFL. So I'm going to balance that out with, it'd be nice when you make additions like that out of the portal, that they come through and they're multi-game starters. I mean, we talked about Ben Scott's going to start the whole year at center, barring injury. I guess 1 game to go, maybe 2. Is your guys that were unknown all of a sudden are known and they're yours.
Yeah, Mekhi Bear.
Yeah, they were already on your roster. So you can balance that out. But, it's going to be – Nebraska's going to have to – they're going to have to find a couple of pieces, like guys that are dudes, guys that change games, not additions, but guys that are front and center, whether they're throwing the ball, whether they're catching the ball. I think they got their answer at running back. I don't think they need to dip the toe in the portal. Now, they'll have a Boise State commitment on campus this weekend, high school guy.
Yeah.
But I think wide receiver and quarterback are 2 of their main areas to go and find one of those dudes. I'll let you tell me about a guy you like that just got into the portal at quarterback. I'll let you tell me that coming up in the next segment. All right. You're excited about him. You're excited about him.
Say that I
You're like, he's
never
a game changer.
said I was excited.
He might be better
about
than
the
Shadur
situation.
Sanders in that game against Colorado in 24. That's what Jimmy said, didn't he, Peter?
Did you see the sign on Saturday at the Colorado game?
No.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
That was.
Who hasn't? All right. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. Hey, who hasn't been to Woodhouse Buick GMC at 119th and I? You can find that perfect vehicle for you, new or pre-owned. They've got simply something for everyone under one roof. You know, the weather is Thanksgiving week going to be a little and you're like, I don't want to be outside going You can go inside. Huge indoor showroom. You can shop in all kinds of weather, and they got great deals right now for you to take advantage of. Newer pre-owned stylish SUVs to the capable trucks, like the stylish SUV that gives you perfect Buick enhancement. Yeah, it's that luxury lifestyle that is that a good deal. The Buick Enclave Avenir all-wheel drive. Right now, you can find yourself with hands-free power liftgate, quiet tuning technology, available massaging front row seats. Look at Jimmy over there. Jimmy's all of a sudden perked up, and he's like, tell me the deal, tell me the deal, tell me the deal. Right now, you can save up to $3,000 off MSRP. Right now on the 23 Buick Enclave Avenir all-wheel drive at Woodhouse Buick GMC, 119th and I, or online anytime at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
I think people would try to sleep with the aliens first.
Wow. You think first, Nick? That assumes that the humans can capture the aliens with their technology, couldn't capture us first. See, that's the problem.
I don't know if it's got to be a capture situation. I think they're just going to try to rizz up the alien.
Rizz up the alien?
Uh-huh.
What does rizz up the alien mean?
Just quart the alien.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone.
Over the past few years, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected how we live our daily lives. Today, we also face a mental health pandemic that threatens our well-being as we attempt to rebuild our social networks and communities.
The pandemic has reminded us to value family, community, and our human connections. However, it has also left many of us feeling more isolated, confused, and alone, struggling to find meaning amid loss and uncertainty.
Today, 1 in 5 Americans experience emotional and mental health challenges, but many of us do not understand what we are facing or know how to ask for help.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, we understand what you are going through, and we are here to help. Our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all. We work every day to eliminate stigma, combat mental illness and substance use disorders, and advance mental health. If you or someone you love needs help, you are not alone. Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Plan on a wet start to your Monday with on and off light rain showers continuing the first half of the day. Still a few lingering into the afternoon, otherwise cloudy and cool with highs in the mid-40s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain, time-saving traffic center. We have one accident to report along Saddle Creek Road at Leavenworth Street, so please be cautious if you're in that area. Along L Street, there's going to be some significant slowdown from 108th all the way to 84th, and along Center, be prepared for a very minor delay from 183rd to 168th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
Does great pay, fully funded medical benefits, and a solid retirement sound good to you? IBEW has immediate openings for electricians. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call 402-810-0789 or visit IBEW22.org today.
Experience Omaha's first Indian restaurant and brewery. Jaipur has created delicious Indian food and brews, from the tandoori salmon to the chicken tikka makhani. Jaipur has something for every palate. 2 locations, Rockbrook and Dundee. Come see why Jaipur has been voted first place best of Omaha 18 years in a row.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Today, 1 in 5 Americans experience emotional and mental health challenges, but many of us don't know how to ask for help.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, we work every day to eliminate stigma and advance mental health. Visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Outdoor Nebraska update. It's hunting time in the Husker State. For a safe season, remember to be totally certain of your target and your background before you fire that shot. In a moment, ask yourself, is the bullet flight path clear? Is that a legitimate target? And what am I going to hit if I miss my shot? Please be careful out there. I'm Greg Wagner with Nebraska Game and Parks.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
High school football state finals going on at Memorial Stadium. I know it's for the kids. I think Memorial Stadium doesn't have the same feel, a little more intimate atmosphere, but it's for the kids. It's for the experience.
Do you have a preference where you'd like to have it played?
Vers brought up Seacrest. I mean, I think an ideal situation where you could put I don't know what Seacrest holds, maybe 11,000 if you packed it.
That might be a little high, but yeah.
But it's for the kids, and they get a great experience to play at Memorial Stadium. It's such a mammoth place that when you have 7,000-8,000, which you'll probably for the big game tonight, which we'll carry here on the Zone, coming up at 7 after Jimmy's show. It gets lost. Everyone's sitting between like the 30s. So that's just me, but I hearken back to the days of Benson traveling to Norfolk to play for a state championship, or you were playing, big games at Caniglia Field.
Yeah, that was going to be my suggestion, is maybe see if you could prep that stadium. But I don't know. I always wonder if in high school we should have just always honored the higher seed to have the home field advantage, even in the state championship.
We did during the COVID year. Elkhorn South and Westside played for the state championship. They played at Westside.
That was at Westside's field, and now they get the neutral site.
Were you still in high school?
Because I did the B final that year on public television.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had me back. I wonder what
What'd you do?
I don't know. I said I'd raise money for you.
Speaking of being back, Chris Kessel and Don Kastner, the athletic directors of both schools, respectively, will be on after hours tonight.
Okay. Like in the booth?
In the booth.
All right.
Got them on.
Good deal. Two really good guys that they have two really good athletic departments going. But
weird how that works out.
You also had, so Elkhorn played host to the state final that year. They played Aurora because Memorial Stadium was not available during the COVID year.
That's a trip.
Not being available or COVID?
Both, but I meant the Aurora and Elkhorn drive.
I get it. It's for the kids. And I it's also great. I love that we're carrying both games, the B and the A, that involve 4 area schools. I also think it's great that all the games are on TV. So statewide, you can watch them. But I also wonder how many people stay home. And if you have no connection, like you didn't go to school there, or you don't have a son or daughter, goes to school there, you don't work for them, you don't go to the game, you stay at home.
Which that's what that's for. I mean, they're not putting that show on that game on TV for Westside alone.
I would think that. I would go. I'm in town. I'm going to the state final. I would go, but that's
who has the biggest crowd in the next 2 days of the 4 schools.
It will be Bennington.
Bennington's
a football town.
That's where my money was.
But the C schools and the D schools definitely will draw it well, because that's a huge deal. The whole town shows that they shut down the town.
Of the 2 games we're covering, though, A and B,
probably Bennington.
Okay, that's where Westside's probably gonna have a little bit to say about it, but I thought Bennington is gonna show up in droves.
All right, so we'll have that game coming up tonight. Peter? Oh, I thought you were gonna chime in on something.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. What was I gonna say? I'm losing my train of thought.
This is great radio.
It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me.
You were going to say,
I was typing something out and then I forgot.
How was Dolly Parton at the Tennessee-Georgia game? Wasn't that amazing that Dolly Parton is still with us?
Escorting Peyton Manning.
Dak Prescott wore Dolly Parton shirts to his press conference.
Dolly Parton has gotten huge.
Can we say that about Dolly Parton?
She's super
her
popular.
Celebrity.
Yeah, she's super popular. That part hasn't changed. All right, so this is a discussion that's going on, and I appreciate all the interaction this morning. Again, there is so many deep dives to the Wisconsin game that are basically Nebraska football. I mean, Saturday night was kind of a little microcosm where Nebraska football is and where they are. Sometimes you have to look in the mirror and go, well, that's the reality. Nebraska's a 5-6 football team for a reason. Or you go, Nebraska's a football program that hasn't been to a bowl game, where you can lose 6 games and go to a bowl game. They haven't been to a bowl game since 2016. So Wisconsin kind of gives you a kind of where you are and where you've been. But this is a discussion, and Adam brings this up, and others have talked about it. And I alluded to it a little bit, and then this is the part of the discussion that Jimmy and I and Peter and I are having about dudes. So would you say that Nebraska's made progress in close games? Is they're not getting boat raced?
Well, I mean,
that's how a one-score game is.
I was going to say they really haven't gotten boat raced in a while, though.
Okay, so they have made that step, but they can't get over the hump of winning one-score football games. It's got to be it's the DNA of the football program, because Rule is now 0-4 against 4 teams that are,
you could possibly be 4-0 against.
Okay,
Yeah.
So how do you've cut down where you're not getting blown out? Now you're losing close games. Like Nebraska, really, outside of Michigan, and then the Colorado game got away from.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you think it's not a blowout?
There's not a lot of blowouts on the ledger. The Colorado game?
Yeah. Just because of the way the game fell apart at the end, I don't know if I consider that a blowout. Yeah, the score shows it that way, but if you watch that game, I don't think
I'm just going strictly off the score.
Okay.
Strictly off the score. Because you can't tell me when Melvin Gordon ran wild. Well, you know what? The game was a little bit closer than the score indicated. So what's the difference, and how do you figure out the difference? Is it a coach? Is it a player? Is it a culture? What is it? Because that's the next. Nebraska football can't move forward until they figure out basically how to be Iowa. Because Iowa wins quintessential Iowa games where it's close and they win and they find a way to win. How do you do that? Does Iowa do it because they got Kirk Ferentz, who, by the way, with that win on Saturday, he's now eligible for the Hall of Fame.
First ballot?
Well, probably.
Yeah, I think so.
But he's eligible in terms of the requirements. So is Iowa winning because of the guy that's on the sidelines that has been there, for 25 years? Are they winning because there's a player that steps up? Are they winning because of a scheme in close games? I mean, all of those things where Nebraska is still searching for all of those and trying to tie them all together. And again, Saturday night was the perfect example. Okay, it's all called complementary. It's just not just one guy. I say dudes. You got to have a dude that steps up and make a play. But is it the guy in the headset? Is it the guy that's building the program outside of the season? Or is it simply one guy is better than everybody else on the field?
So it's something just crossed my mind, and maybe it has something to do with who I sat next to at night. And when he yawns, it sounds like a shotgun goes off in his face. When was the last time Nebraska had a healthy quarterback for an entire season?
Whoa, hold on here.
You ever heard Adrian Martinez yawn? He clearly had a broken jaw at some point in his life. It's bad.
Okay, but yeah. I don't think you want to use that phrase that you used.
It's that loud.
Okay.
Maybe
you should be more entertaining with him when you.
We're on late at night. We don't get the luxury of being on at 8 a.m. But you think about Casey Thompson's thumb. Adrian obviously had multiple injuries his entire career in Lincoln. What is the last time Nebraska had a fully healthy quarterback, Tommy Armstrong? And is that is that what is equating to wins?
So Tanner Lee is the last quarterback at Nebraska to play the entire season. That's 17.
Think about that.
Yeah.
We talk about
you started 3 quarterbacks this year. How many quarterbacks did you start last year?
When was the last time Nebraska went to a bowl game? 2016.
2016.
There's got to be some correlation.
There's a correlation.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, it comes down. They're going to have a human sacrifice. Not bring back a former coach.
Yeah.
They're actually going to have to sacrifice somebody.
Can it please be a little red?
Quick. The caller previously brought up the punting situation, and again, in a game where in a program where the margin for error is so small that you need so many things to line up to be successful. You need the last 3 weeks you've had a field position battle game, and Nebraska has been their own worst enemy, whether it be punting or the absence of punt return and kick return, where you're starting a lot of your drives inside of your own 20. Brian Buschini, who's just okay. I think he's just okay.
Okay.
Just okay. You can look at the numbers, but I think he's just okay.
Has the Boom Sheeny nickname died?
Well, he
certainly the last few weeks.
You can't. Would you rather have, and I'm going to say this and we'll go to break because I'm sure this will elicit a conversation. Would you rather have a punter that can pinpoint and drop it right down at the 1? Not all the time. Or a punter that is going to boom it and is going to go for distance? I can, just like Adrian's jaw, I can hear your head.
Yeah, that's a great question.
We'll dive into that. A little bit later, Jacob Bigelow, the podcaster, joins us. And then Amy Just, who is back from Wisconsin. I think she will stop, get some spotted cow. Although, so it's really, really good. Our former GM, Mark, is from Wisconsin. And so he would go home to Wisconsin. He'd bring us back New Glarus or spotted cow from New Glarus. And yeah, he'd bring a ton. I think there's actually,
there's 2 left in there.
Yeah, there's still some in the beer fridge here in the studio.
Is there really?
Yeah, there you go.
So I know she dropped a picture that she stopped there. Did you see all of the Nebraska media that went to cover the football game stopped in Coralville yesterday outside of Iowa City to cover the Nebraska Iowa volleyball match?
Which they should have. That was awesome.
It's a really cool arena.
The Iowa blackout. That was all right.
Well, it's the Caitlin Clark effect, courtesy of Nebraska volleyball.
Yep.
They have an ECHL hockey team that plays there. It's a really cool arena. It's ideal size. So Iowa volleyball has moved out of Carver Hockey, and that's where they play. But
what do they call it? The Extreme Arena? That's kind of a cool name.
They host state volleyball.
It's been a long time coming too.
But Nebraska volleyball, and we're in a volleyball state, so Creighton, 10th straight Big East. And it is impressive because I thought when they lost to the year the streak is ended, and they're like, not so fast.
Not with that head coach.
And then Nebraska, 0 seniors. Toughest conference in America, week 9. They've already clinched, and they haven't lost yet. They're 27-0. No team has gone unbeaten in volleyball since Penn State in 2009. This is a big week because you have Minnesota and Wisconsin on the road. But to clinch the Big Ten outright,
with a weekend left.
outright, where they give you the trophy and they put a sticker over last year's winner
without
says
Rutgers
Nebraska
and Maryland on the trophy.
Yeah. Not a good look yesterday.
I didn't catch that until I looked through the photos a second time. I'm like, that is not a current trophy.
They had a piece of tape that they put on the front that said Nebraska.
They probably rassled that up from some event years ago.
Somebody forgot that they could clinch.
I blame Kevin Warren. There's a lot of people blaming the punting game on Saturday night. Distance or pinpoint accuracy? We're back with more Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone. Hey, FanDuel is the place for you. You're looking to get in on all the action? Now you can take advantage of FanDuel and the great items right now for you with FanDuel. It is America's #1 sports book, and get in on all the action, including tonight's game between Philadelphia and Kansas City. It's FanDuel.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. You can help a child in need experience the joy of opening a gift this Christmas morning. Join 1620 The Zone as we stuff the truck to benefit Toys for Tots. Friday, December 1st from 3 till 7 and Saturday, December 2nd from 11 till 4 at the Zone Studio parking lot off 50th and Dodge. Help those in need this holiday season by donating a new unwrapped toy. All the info at 1620thezone.com with Molina Healthcare, 2 Men in a Truck, J-Tech Construction and Solar, Hy-Vee, and 1620 The Zone.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgaard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Amid high inflation and an uncertain economy, thousands of Omaha families are struggling to escape poverty. But this holiday season, you can help them find a way forward by giving to the Salvation Army. Here in the Metro, we serve families with the support they need to get back on their feet by providing food, shelter, utility assistance, and more. Join our effort to love beyond Christmas. Give to the Salvation Army today at omaharedkettle.org. That's omaharedkettle.org.
Hi, everybody. Kent Pavelka here with why I chose Everlevel Concrete Repair for my driveway. They do it all. They fix cracks, lift sunken slabs, protect the finished product from deterioration, and all at a fraction of the price of replacement. It's not a Band-Aid like other repair methods. Everlevel's products are designed to last, which is why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Better yet, it all comes with a transferable warranty. Protect your concrete before winter. Call Everlevel today for your free inspection. Everlevel. They make your driveway Everlevel. Level up.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Drive with purpose and arrive in style when you purchase your next vehicle at Woodhouse Chevy. With advanced capabilities and safety features, the Chevy lineup puts you in a position to upgrade your ride and keep moving with confidence. Choose from a variety of models equipped with a spacious, detail-focused interior and distinctively modern exterior. Purchasing your next vehicle at Woodhouse Chevy is an easy choice. Shop our current offers and inventory today and find new roads, in-store or online with Woodhouse Chevy.
Hey everyone, John and Josh here for the FanDuel Sportsbook, and this Thanksgiving, FanDuel has something you're really going to be thankful for, because today, right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Moneyline bets are simple. You're just picking the winner, so pick a big favorite on Thanksgiving Day. And when I think Thanksgiving, everybody thinks the Detroit Lions.
What a moment for the Lions, John. They can get another victory as their march for the playoffs continues. As John said, go to FanDuel.com/1620. And if you have a winning $5 moneyline bet, you can get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. Also, I recommend taking the Dallas Cowboys. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame moneyline wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
John writes into the Equitable Bank inbox. My people are gonna be. We're not on Thursday. We're not on Friday. It's gonna be a short week. We'll be at the Mega Hy-Vee in Gretna coming up on Wednesday. People are getting in their shots here. They're gonna be angry all week. John says Iowa 17-1 in November since 2019. 4-1 in one-score games this year. You might as well go ahead and cancel your flight and room for Vegas. It isn't going to happen with Satterfield calling plays.
And I think that's the most frustrating part about all this is an undefeated October could translate to a winless November.
Well,
and that stirs frustration even more.
So when the season is over, Rule, who would like to rule the fourth quarter in November, is going to have to reassess why Nebraska isn't a 75-yard rushing team in the fourth quarter and why November could either be 0-4 or 1-3. Two things that he's going to hang his hat on. Back to the punting thing real quick. And in a conference where punting's a big deal, when you're not a good punting team or when you need a good punt, you get a good punt, rears its ugly head. So I think If you want like pinpoint, hey, Buschini, can you put this ball down at the 5? But this is what we want you to do. And people are going to come after you. He can do that. But it's wild. And I'm not a punter. I'm not going to say, well, you know what, the way he spins the ball and the way it comes off his foot. I'm just going to go at it from the talk show host guy. Is why are some of his best punts when there's no pressure?
Just a comfortable thing. I mean, I feel like I would punt better if I didn't have somebody in my face.
But
to answer your question,
but what would you rather take?
Yeah, that's where I was going.
Distance or pinpoint accuracy?
Pinpoint accuracy.
Because Nebraska needs the distance part. They played 3 straight weeks where the game has been about field position and flipping the field.
I
and
agree.
They have not been able to win that battle.
I agree, but how many times have we seen a returner take a punt back for an additional 10 or 15 yards? If you could pinpoint something and put those at net 0 yards or 1, 2, 3 yards every single time, that might even be more valuable than putting it 25 yards back for a 35-yard return.
All right, our stream today with all the comments is just an absolute blank show. So we're going to dive into those and share.
We appreciate all of you.
Well, it's a good conversation going on. But then one person gets loose, and then it just so we're going to read some of those, some of the emails. Calls as always 951-1620. We will discuss. We'll also discuss Brock. I said Brock Purdy had a great day.
Yeah, we can talk about Brock Purdy. 3 touchdowns.
So, does Purdy have it to take the next step, which is Friday against Iowa, and then? What happened to Purdy not appearing until Wisconsin? We'll discuss coming up in the next hour. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Peter is in for Jimmy. Jimmy is in for Nick. Gary is just being Gary on 1620 The Zone. The football season is here, and as we are now nearing the playoff race, FanDuel's got something for you really to be thankful for. Thanksgiving is right around the corner. It's coming up on Thursday. You know what that means? Food and football. And FanDuel, because right now new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. With so many games going on, Thanksgiving is the perfect time to join. You got 3 games coming up on Thanksgiving. Oh, could it be the last hurrah for Ron Rivera as the head coach of Washington before Eric Bieniemy takes over? They're going to take on a red-hot Dallas team, and there's a big line there. Check that out on FanDuel.com/ use the promo code ZONE. Fill up your plate with parlays and player props all weekend long, and your belly and your wallet will be full, courtesy of FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. 21 over present Iowa. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonuses used. Now withdrawable bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have one accident to report along Saddle Creek Road at Leavenworth Street, so please be cautious if you're in that area. Along L Street, there's going to be some significant slowdown from 108th all the way to 84th, and along Center, be prepared for a very minor delay from 183rd to 168th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Like getting your Fernando's fix? How would you like getting your Fernando's fix and getting 15% off? That'd be pretty fantastic. Sign up for the Fernando's Rewards program through the Fernando's app in the Apple or Google store and get a 15% discount as a welcome gift.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Make the right call. John Higgins Weather Car, the home of the roofery.
When it's time to replace or repair storm damage, make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more Da Vinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter. Make the right call.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the roofery. Make the right call.
Rich Eisen here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. A great matchup with two division leaders both coming off their bye weeks. From Kansas City, it's the 7-2 Chiefs hosting the 8-1 Philadelphia Eagles. Kevin Harlan and Hall of Famer Kurt Warner will have the call from a rocking Arrowhead Stadium on air and on the free live stream sponsored by AutoZone on Monday Night Football.
Right here on 1620, The Zone.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Must be 21 plus in President State where lawful to wager. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. First online real money wager only $5 pregame money line wager required. First online real money wager only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700 visit KSGamblingHelp.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana, visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia, or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Help is here. Visit gamblinghelpma.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone. Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is Cops. Receive 2 $25 gift vouchers for just $25. Cops makes delicious pizza, fresh salads, and tasty charred wings. For the basic menu, click copspizza.com. And for the extended menu, visit them at Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and the newly reopened 72nd and Jones locations.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com. Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
No doubt if Michigan wins on Saturday, that David Braun is the coach of the year in the Big Ten.
Oh, without it, yeah, unquestionably.
They won one game last year.
They're going to a bowl this year.
They're bowl eligible before Nebraska. I mean, they're in a. By the way, they're in a division. The Big Ten West forever. Gosh, I'm gonna miss it. Is you could still have many teams that have a losing record. If I'm right here, Jimmy, help me here. Is Northwestern the only team that is bowl eligible that Nebraska has beaten? No, Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois has a chance to become bowl eligible, I think.
Yeah, they're
okay. So
Louisiana Tech, no. Illinois, no. Purdue, no.
I think Northern Illinois has one game to become bowl eligible, but right now Northwestern is the only team that Nebraska's beaten that is bowl eligible.
Well, and I think that's got to be a notch in the frustration belt as well. Is Northwestern, Kansas, and Duke have all been more relevant in the college football landscape more recently than Nebraska has. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Oh, it's reality.
Doesn't make it any tougher to swallow.
It's reality. I mean, all three programs have had better coaches at the time.
And a lot of people wanted Lance Leipold to come north and take this job. A lot of people wanted Chris Kleiman to come north to take this job.
Never a candidate, by the way, for the Nebraska job.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that people wanted here. I mean, a lot of people wanted Urban Meyer here. That was never happening. So it's just one of those things that when you get it in your mind as a fan that, oh, I'd love to have this guy or this style of coach my team, they stay at a place where you feel like on paper should be more relevant and a bigger draw to a coach, and then they continue to have success. There's something to that too.
The Nebraska-Wisconsin game is being replayed on BTN. damn, Buford was really good in this game.
Yeah, they missed him this year.
Tanner Mordecai was a dude. I don't need to see it for the third time. When they needed plays and Mordecai put his foot in the ground and took off, and he was able to get yardage. Nebraska just defensively, there were just something missing. They didn't have the edge, and Mordecai was completing passes, man. He threw into a lot of tight windows. His wide receivers were really good as well.
Despite being injured, they had a bunch of dudes that were dinged up, and they still contributed.
They had guys that made catches. It's about to become 14-10.
Hey, Nebraska's winning right now. That's all that matters.
Turn the game off. I don't want to see what happens.
That field goal was close. All right, Peter, this is...
I totally forgot to type the name in, but he wants to talk about spreads.
Started with DA. Do you remember now?
David. Damon.
Caller, thank you. We apologize for our incompetence. Welcome to the show.
All right, it's David. David, Florida, coming off a 56-point win on Saturday.
I saw that.
Hey, did you see that play I sent you about Mr. Charles Lester?
Yeah, a nice little player. You think he'll reconsider where he's going to go to college?
Well, I can tell you where he's not going to go.
Well, he's not coming to Lincoln.
He may end up out there with Coach Prime. We just got an inkling that some things may change because we got another kid going out there, but I don't know kids these days. Hey, how was Nebraska a 1.5-point favorite on Friday, especially since up there everybody thinks the world's coming to an end, and the over-under is 26.
Where are you seeing 26? I'm looking at FanDuel right now. It's 27.5.
I'm looking at the freshly Seminole Hard Rock Casino app that is new in Florida.
It has it at 26 as the total. Now, I want us all to get it down to 25.
Which is probably still too high.
That's a good start to get it to 26. Because and FanDuel, it's 27.5. Nebraska's now, so this flipped from initially when it was released yesterday, it was 1.5 for Iowa. It flipped to Nebraska, 1.5. All I can think is they're looking at the desperation of Nebraska playing at home, and that Iowa, because of some comments by their head coach, may not be all in on this game.
Yeah, but wouldn't you be? I mean, they can't lose to Nebraska.
They're going to be.
In a row.
Yeah, I find it very surprising that Iowa's going to treat this game as a warm-up for what's going to happen in Indy. I mean, to be 10-2, to win a trophy game, to beat Nebraska. I mean, do you really want to be Iowa football and have 2 straight years where you've lost to Nebraska? Last year, I got Iowa JD telling me they lost to a quitting team. Well, that quitting team went in there and smacked you in the mouth and beat you there, and Caleb Tanner smoked cigars. You telling me that you'd be okay as an Iowa fan losing 2 straight years to a Nebraska team? One that didn't make a bowl last year, and this year that made a bowl game by beating you. You know, Iowa's going to come in here with enough. They're not. I just can't see them treating this game as a layup to get ready for Indianapolis, because it might be this might be Iowa's last opportunity to win a football game this year.
So if Nebraska wins and wins a bowl game and goes 2-0, and Iowa goes 0-3, what happens?
They will fire their offensive coordinator.
Maybe they should fire their head coach.
Whoa!
After a 9-win season,
he's eligible now for the College Football Hall of Fame.
Hey, there was a coach at Nebraska that I'm still bitter about who got fired. 2 coaches who got fired after 9-win season.
Yeah, I think Kirk is on his own time in the offseason, what he would like to do. But he gets emotional. He got really emotional once again on Saturday. Hey, I'll give Iowa credit. I know maybe you're not supposed to. I'm probably going to be excommunicated off the show. Damon gave credit to Iowa, and he no longer works here. I mean, I know how this works. I give credit. They've gone through some adversity this year. Okay, they're on punt, pass, and kick kid as a quarterback, and yet they're 9-2.
They know their offensive
whether the
coordinators
division is bad and they've got mega punter, they're still 9-2, and probably tomorrow they're going to be in the top 15 in the playoff race.
Yeah, how much different is this conversation if we're having it next year? By the way,
hey, let me know if that total changes.
I will.
All right. Be
Thanks,
good, my
David.
man. Who we got this week?
We have Riverview, which is the 6th time we will play them in the last 3 years.
Dang. All right. Well, good luck. I'm sure we'll communicate.
I'm sure we will.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Southwest Florida Dave coaches at Venice, which is one of the top programs in the state of Florida.
Mutual friend of ours down there is very upset about the app situation for betting in Florida.
What's going on with that?
It's not where they want it to be.
There's a guy that sits next to you that is not really happy with the app situation to mobile bet in the state of Nebraska.
There's a guy sitting next to you that is not very happy about the app mobile betting situation in Nebraska either.
How many people
We made it.
People that have chimed in this morning
Have money on Nebraska?
No, I get it. You know, it's the hangover emotions. Now we're to Monday. That you don't think Nebraska is going to win on Friday because of Nebraska or because of Iowa.
I think it's all on. Nebraska.
I'm taking the pulse of the Mornings with Sharp and Handley listeners, and I am sensing, following on the stream, following in the email, following on the Twitter, that it's all about Nebraska. Not about Iowa. That Iowa's a better team. They're going to come in here and they'll be able to shut down the run. And then what is Nebraska going to do? And, you know, it's just Iowa, and they're going to win the punting game. They're going to punt 11 times, and they're going to win 15-12 in past history. This is kind of flipped, that it's Nebraska.
You can almost make that argument for the last 7 years.
Nebraska won't win on Friday because of Nebraska. But now Nebraska is a 1.5 favorite.
And I wonder how much that is a performance from Chuck Purdy at the beginning of that game against Wisconsin, and Vegas in the odds makers thinking Nebraska might have found their quarterback.
I think we can get this 27.5 down.
25 might even still be too high.
So going back to a theme that is familiar with Nebraska football, that it's going to be right front and center again, is Nebraska over a period of time has rarely done a good job of taking advantage of good fortune. The way the season has rolled out with your opponents, you haven't been able to take advantage of that, especially in the last 3 games. Playing on your home field to become bowl eligible, you would think, ooh, that's a great thing, right? 0-4 Colorado, 15 Iowa,
that was one of
19 Iowa.
Oh,
so this will be the 4th time that on Black Friday, Nebraska will be playing to become bowl eligible in their own stadium.
You think there's a fat head of Garrett Nelson holding the Heroes Trophy in Iowa's locker room right now as you walk out the door? This is what we're walking into on Friday. Remember when they did this on our turf last year?
This game means a ton. You know, simply, if I'm a player and this has been there's a lot of things we're going to dive into when the season is over. This will be like a deep dive. Is you got guys that haven't quit. Okay, guys care. I mean, I Amy just might allude to this, but the locker room was pretty emotional after the game.
Yeah, you brought up Buford. He had tears in his eyes.
So guys haven't shut her down. So that's at least a step in the right direction, correct? I just know that if I'm a player and if I'm a Luke Reimer, okay, can you imagine a Luke Reimer or a Quentin Newsom never going to a bowl game playing for Nebraska? Never. 2 guys who have, you would agree, been pretty important the last few years.
And worn their emotion on their sleeves for this team.
I would think that's enough motivation. Hey, we did it to ourselves the last 3 weeks. We had an opportunity. We weren't good enough. Now we have our last opportunity. Because at 2:30 Friday, your season could be over. Your season could be over at 2:30 on Friday.
You bring up those guys, and I can't. And that was the most confusing thing about Saturday night with the missed tackling. When you have vocal leaders like that hold their guys accountable, the missed tackles, not even really missed tackles, but just running by ball carriers was mind-numbing to me on Saturday night. Tanner Mordecai in this last play literally just ran by a linebacker that didn't even touch him.
I mean, if you told me that Nebraska was going to play a game in Madison and Wisconsin was only giving up 17, or you were only going to give up 17 points in regulation, wouldn't you have taken that?
Oh, yeah.
But didn't it seem like, man, that defense, well, who were those guys? They were so disjointed. They were not, I say complimentary football. I say Nebraska defensively was not complimentary to themselves because they were handed a 14-point lead and they weren't able to get that big stop.
And twice in the overtime, forced third of them long, and twice Wisconsin converted.
Well, yeah. So that's a huge part in overtime that they gave up that. I think they got a little gassed. But it was the first time all year where I looked at the defense and went, there just is something off. They're making plays, but they're not They're not like stacking series. And then there would be times in the second half where Nebraska needed a stop, and they got a stop. You stuff Braylon Allen on fourth down. It was defensively, they were so disjointed.
They really let Mordecai get into a rhythm throwing too.
Again, Jimmy, I'm telling you, Tanner Mordecai should get a lot of credit for what happened. When he needed to make plays, he was a difference maker. When he needed to take off, Nebraska was slippery. Nebraska didn't play well with their eyes up. They had little things that had been overshadowed that kind of came up in the wrong times. Well, and also they got, when Braylon Allen got going downhill. I'll tell you what really changed though, is when Wisconsin offensively, they started to go more up tempo and they got their downhill running game going. And then Nebraska all of a sudden was on their heels for a series or two. The whole night was disjointed. And it's crazy to say that because Nebraska, right out of the pocket, had a 14-0 lead.
Well, we referenced the fourth down stop where the momentum switched. If you look at that drive for Wisconsin right after that, they converted two third and longs on that next drive. And then Tanner Mordecai on 3 separate first downs leading the drive down the field threw a first down pass for over 11 yards. And it just felt like he found his rhythm after that, A, running and B, throwing, and it just never got off his spot.
There's a tinge of me, and you're right, there's a tinge of me that I'm a little worried about the defense because, again, they only gave up 13 points to Maryland, but there were some breakdowns. They weren't able to get off the field on third down. That happened again Saturday night. And I'm not overly concerned, but I'm going to watch this about the defense in back-to-back weeks because they haven't completely just where you're like, oh no. And they've kept you in games because they're a defense built to keep you competitive. They're going to need some help from the offense. But I think the last 2 weeks, there have been a few things that you go, uh-oh.
And that was a lot of
with a good offense, that would get exploited. Now, luckily, you don't face an air raid offense this weekend.
That was a lot of the reason I brought up the Chief Borders and Elijah Judys of the world, is because it feels like this coaching staff doesn't feel comfortable really going past their starting 11 and maybe down to 13 guys and getting the same productivity out of everybody else behind them.
Oh, well, they played a lot of guys again on Saturday night.
Right, but how much of what we're talking here about chunk plays happened when there was rotation?
You got to remember,
you have to, but
some guys go from playing 30 plays one week to 6 the next. They do a lot of situational stuff.
That's exactly what I'm referencing.
But I don't think like you just brought up Elijah Judy. He's in on this play that just aired on BTN.
Yeah,
not the Hartzog play in the end zone.
He was on the Mordecai scramble on the right side.
I don't know. I think you might have. I don't know. I think we're different here on what I thought Borders and Judy were going to be coming into this season. I don't read into where they came from. Read into the production when they got here and where they were going to fit them. I don't think either one of them I had pegged, or I think even the coaching staff pegged and said, "Man, those guys are going to be all Big Ten."
Yeah, that's not what I mean.
They were complementary pieces.
Yeah, but do you think they have been to this defense this season?
They haven't played much when they've been on the field. They haven't.
I'm not trying to bury the kids. And obviously, they haven't done anything to lose games either. But it's just I feel like when you're bringing in guys from the transfer portal, they have to be guys that are going to contribute.
Can I introduce you to Kane Williams? I think the thing about the portal is you got to pause and not get caught up where guys are coming from.
I just don't know what
just because they came from Texas A&M and Georgia or Florida, they're going to walk in and they're going to be game changers. There might be a reason why they're not playing at places where they got some pretty good talent in front of them.
I just think you have to do a better job going forward of hitting on those guys. I'm not saying you've got to go. Fair. You've got to go out and land a Big Ten leading sack leader, but you've got to find guys that are going to be up to par with what you have already. Otherwise, I don't know why you're adding those pieces. I there's been a couple misses.
And then Ben Scott though they hit.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's my point. It is if you're going to add somebody, it's got to be that effective. Do
you want to tell me the quarterback you want to come here?
Listen, the words "I want to come here" has never come out of my mouth. But I mean,
Did you hear that, Peter? Jimmy told me in the break. He goes, "I got your guy for 24."
Yep.
QB1 is going to be on campus here shortly. No, but I with obviously the Garrett McGuire relationship already in Lincoln. When you see a Texas Tech quarterback enter the transfer portal,
you're being funny, right?
What?
Because I'm gonna no. No.
I was trying to keep a straight face throughout all this. No, I think a lot of people think that that's already going to be a done deal, and I'm not necessarily on that board.
He's 43 years old. He's on his second marriage. He's got kids all over. He's got a couple of alimony payments. He's got child payments. He's also
We're still talking about the Texas Tech quarterback.
Yes, Tyler Shaw.
Yeah,
who is in the portal. Okay,
Yeah, right.
he is. This will be his 6th or 7th year.
Seventh. He'll be a 7th.
He's very injury prone. I know it's easy to connect dots of. Joey McGuire, Texas Tech. His son is at Nebraska.
Give me a percentage of him being like it next year.
Nebraska will probably get quarterbacks that there's some kind of connection.
Give me a percentage.
No.
Okay. Are you saying no because you don't want that to happen, or no, you don't think it's going to happen?
Both. All of the above.
0% from Gary.
Hey,
I think there's a 30% chance. He's got to go somewhere.
I'll buy you lunch in a steakhouse that doesn't have lights. If that happens, which are some of the nicest steakhouses
That's
in the
very
South.
true.
Okay,
Dimly
first of all,
lit.
if that's the case, then all the gloves are off against Rule and his quarterback evaluation. Because here's a guy who is injury prone, and I don't want the future quarterbacks at Nebraska that come out of the portal. I don't want a guy with just 1 year of eligibility.
Yeah, you need to build some.
I want an older guy and a younger guy. And I want that older guy to have at least 2 years of eligibility. And I want that younger guy, it'd be nice to have him have 2 or 3 years of eligibility. But I want that older guy that's got more than just 1 year of eligibility, 2 years of eligibility, to have tread on the tires of playing Division I football. And I'm not excluding FCS. I mean, I got a whole profile the other day of South Dakota State's quarterback. One of our listeners broke down film.
Cole Payton?
No.
Oh, you said South Dakota State. I'm sorry. Yeah. I apologize.
Gronkowski? Mark Gronkowski, I think is his name. I should know that. They're number 1 seed in the FCS playoffs that came out. But no.
He obviously just announced yesterday that he's coming back to Utah next year. Hold on. How interesting would it be if Cam Rising was available?
Oh, he'd be extremely popular.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that he announced yesterday that he's coming back to Utah for next season, but that's one of those guys that I think a lot of people are looking at and going, there's a little meat left on the bone there.
Are we is it 2 weeks? We're 2 weeks away from the portal opening?
Transfer portal day, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
4th?
Mark Gronowski. That's
Mark Gronowski. Good quarterback.
Is it the 4th or is it the 5th?
I was
it's
shocked
Monday,
when I
right.
saw that bracket and no seed for NDSU. They're in the tournament, but they're not seeded.
Struggling this year.
They've got some injuries piled up.
You get so used to seeing them on top.
South Dakota's had a really good year. The Yotes
They're very, very well coached.
And the bracket works out well for both of them.
Are they on opposite sides? I think they are.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun if we got
That'd be a cool national
in-state
championship
final.
Both of them could lose then.
How's that?
I'm not a South Dakota State or South Dakota fan.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like logistically. I'm like, nope, that's not how brackets work,
Remember,
Gary.
During the wintertime, no. I could close down Brookings and Vermilion in America would be better for it. During the wintertime. Now, I do have great respect for the South Dakota State football program.
Just don't like traveling there in December?
No, I know a couple of people that are in the program. They got a juggernaut, man. They're good people. But that's where it stops, my love of the Jackrabbits. All right, 8:40. Jacob Bigelow coming up top of the hour. We'll talk some Nebraska hoops as well. We'll mix in some Creighton. As Nebraska's got a huge game against Duquesne on Wednesday night. Nebraska's 5-0. Creighton is unbeaten. Creighton goes to Kansas City for their tournament this week. But the podcaster, Jacob Bigelow, will stop by. Coming up at the top of the hour. Amy Justin, less than an hour, back from Wisconsin. And whatever happened, Wisconsin quickly has taken a 17-14 lead on BTN. Thumbs up, thumbs down on NBC. Did you guys like NBC game? Noah Eagle, Todd Blackledge?
I was in here, so I wasn't listening too much to the call, but the reactions I saw online, people were liking Noah Eagle.
Yeah, I thought what I caught of the rest of the second half where I could hear sound was great. I was a little bit busy.
Most important thing that Noah Eagle did all night. And cool guy. He's 27. Hung out with Happer and I at a minor league baseball game in Indianapolis this summer.
What were you doing there?
That was for media days, right?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
He pronounced Chuba's name correctly.
Chuba?
Yes. He pronounced it correctly, wasn't surprised. And then we could move on with the broadcast.
And then did not reference his brother more than 4 times, which wasn't annoying.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to.
You have to mention it.
Yeah.
You don't have to mention it every possession.
Probably also say the guy that's playing for Nebraska right now was more highly acclaimed coming out of high school than Brock.
I was seeing some
People
debates
forget.
between which is the better hire between him and Jack Collinsworth.
Ooh.
I haven't been able to catch too many of the Collinsworth calls this year, but
You are very lucky because
Yeah,
Notre
I was-
Dame.
I've
is
heard it
not,
had-
Notre Dame fans are not lucky that they have him and Jason Garrett doing the game.
I heard it has not been great.
Yeah, and it's been more on Garrett.
It's not good. Not good at all. All right. 17-14, Wisconsin with the lead. Minute 26 to go in the third quarter. That's a hold. We're back with more Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
They are saying that none of their coaches have been interviewed. We are, 3 weeks into this? Is that the Big Ten not doing its work properly?
Is that Michigan stiff-arming the conference?
I can't imagine that there would be any punishment levied by anybody if you didn't talk to the people that you need to talk to.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from Knoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Plan on a wet start to your Monday with on and off light rain showers continuing the first half of the day. Still a few lingering into the afternoon, otherwise cloudy and cool with highs in the mid-40s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a bit of a delay from 192nd to 168th on Center. On Dodge, it looks like a little bit of slowdown from 94th to 90th, and along Highway 370, be prepared for some delays from 150th to the I-80 East and West ramps. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Bling in the holidays with Saul's. All jewelry in stock up to 50% off. All sterling jewelry up to 70% off. Watches starting at $19. Diamond earrings starting at $39. Bling in the holidays with up to 50% off jewelry at Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Certified Transmissions built its reputation on the job done right. It means hard work, honesty, and integrity.
And together, we ensure our customers leave satisfied and worry-free.
Certified Transmission, the job done right at the right price.
Looking for a unique gift for your friends and family? Any size gift card will fit every homeowner or gardener on your list. We're your one-stop shop and homegrown headquarters. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lenaha Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Hi, this is Kathy Knoyer. 'Tis the season at Glass House Market within Knoyer Garden Center. We'd like to be a part of your family's holiday tradition. Whether you're looking for a gift for that special someone or a wreath for your front door, we'd like to invite you to come shop our stunning holiday market full of Christmas decor, novelty items, and fresh greens. Shop Glass House Market located within Knoyer Garden Center on 66th Street between Cornhusker and Highway 370 in Papillion. Open daily 10 to 6.
At Knoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
Do you hear what we hear? Omaha Steaks has tons of jobs and hours. Right now, we're hiring for a variety of seasonal positions in our warehouses. Make this holiday extra jolly with a great employee discount on gourmet foods you can use all year long. To view available job openings and to apply online, go to omahasteaks.com/jobs or text steaks to 22633 to apply today. 'Tis the season to make some holiday cash at Omaha Steaks.
Listen to the Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jays shoot around and overtime shows, the Creighton men's basketball pregame and the postgame shows on 1620 The Zone. The Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jays shoot around and overtime shows are also presented by Union Bank and Trust. Hear the breakdown and coverage about your top-ranked Creighton men's basketball team before and after each game, exclusively on your home for the Creighton Blue Jays. 1620 The Zone, the 1620 The Zone mobile app, and 1620thezone.com.
Hey, everybody, it's Michael Smith for Ted and Wally's 2 locations in Benson, of course, and in the old market as well. Listen, Thanksgiving is around the corner. You know this already. You're preparing. You're getting your turkey ready, all your sides. But dessert, that's the most important part. So make the call now for some to-go size orders from Ted and Wally's. Whether it's a pint, a quart, or half gallons, you'll be ready for your party, your Thanksgiving as well. Great flavors, over 3,000 of them, over 35 years in business providing you wonderful ice cream. Head over to Ted and Wally's now and tell them Severe sent you.
Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, coming up tonight at 7 o'clock, we'll have the Class B final right here on the Zone. Bennington and Scott, they played in week number 1. A little controversy play at the goal line.
Might be the understatement of the year.
Touchdown for Bennington to beat Scott by a point, as Bennington has won 38 games in a row. Last team to beat him, Scott. Scott's been really good this year. Bennington hasn't missed a beat. This would be a great game. Tonight, we'll have it here on the Zone beginning at 7 of the whole crew down there in Memorial Stadium. Are we in the Husker Sports Network booth?
I feel like you would have the better answer to that than I would. Some of us won't be in the booth at all.
Playing the role of Greg Sharp is Gary Sharp.
They should have.
Very cool. 2 brothers being able to share.
Yeah.
How often do you get asked that question? I'm sure it's been less and less over the years. But
Not much, because I think people, well, the biggest thing is people put an E on the end of my name, and I don't have an E, and Greg has an E.
It's one like when people
care.
spell my name with a Y.
I don't care. I don't. Whatever you want to call me. You got people call me different things.
You've told this story before. Where were you when somebody came up and asked which one of you was Gary and which one was Damon, and you told them you were Damon? They told you they loved you.
Was that a remote? Yeah.
Okay.
He goes, man, I liked watching you play. I was like, hey.
Were you like at Northwest or at Lincoln?
I was like, man, I was just doing it for the fans back in the day. It happened. I mean, it was just a test to see if they really were a Husker football fan. Because, I don't know, clearly on the football field, we looked a little bit different.
You were a little more explosive.
Yeah, I mean, I put my foot in the ground. I was a one-cut guy. Jeff writes in here. So this is a question about Purdy. Again, nobody today, please, my brothers and sisters in the media, nobody should ask Rule who's starting at quarterback on Friday, unless Chubba Purdy is injured. That is your guy on Friday. That shouldn't even be like a conversation.
And I'm sure it'll be one of the first 3 questions asked, probably.
It shouldn't. It should not even be a question unless the head coach brings up and there's an issue.
Does he scoff at it? Matt Rule has scoffed at a couple questions the last couple weeks.
No, he's okay. He's
rightfully so. I'm not saying he's been out of bounds by any stretch of the imagination.
He's got some kind of interesting questions. I will tell you this. I think he has to have. Maybe we'll ask Amy Jess because she'll be there today. I just want to know what the plan was. What was the plan at the end of regulation? Just what was the plan?
How do you think he answers that?
I think a direct question, and even a hard question, or a question that is, takes on a tone of curiosity but a little negativity. He handles those well. He's not avoiding questions. I mean, he's very transparent. He will be good again today because that is a good element for him, and he's super comfortable in that role. But I think for all of us to understand a little bit more, he had to go in depth on the final play against Maryland. I think he's got to be asked a hard question about, is this something that is an issue that can be fixed overnight, or how do you see in situational readiness that is lacking right now? But I just want to know what the plan was. What was the plan at the end of regulation? I'm sure he'll be asked. I'm sure he'll bring it up. Sometimes he brings this stuff up unsolicited. So the portion about the quarterback. So Ryan writes in, I liked what I saw out of Purdy initially. Wisconsin adjusted. Nebraska didn't adjust so much. I was really disappointed that they abandoned the power running game and were starting to throw the ball, and they had a lot of 3 outs and quick drives. I want Purdy to be the quarterback on Friday. Not sure if I want him to be moving forward, but my bigger question is, if this has been here the whole time, how come he hasn't been playing?
He's been hurt. I mean, what Matt Rule talked about 3 weeks ago about, hey, we've got Chuba a little bit more in the equation now because he's actually able to be out there. I mean, I don't think there's any way he was playing against Colorado.
So he's probably the first guy up. Remember, Rule isn't pulling guys because of performance. Jeff Sims,
specifically the quarterback.
Jeff Sims lost his job because he was injured. Heinrich Harburg has not lost his job, but I mean, Sims has lost his job. But Harburg is not the starter because he's injured currently. Okay, it hasn't been because of performance that we're pulling a guy. The bottom line with Purdy is, and I think you got to get another game before he's their best option in a quarterback room that doesn't have a lot of options.
And it's got to look better after the script too.
Well, again, yes. And let's discuss this on Big Red Overreaction after his performance against Iowa. Because it's got to be a big week for Purdy. Because film study is his, quarterback one is his. The team on the other side, they have a chalkboard as well. Okay, and you're going to have to adjust. But if he had not gotten hurt late in camp, he's in there before Harburg is. Whether they embraced him or not, he's the next guy up. And maybe it was more of a 2A, 2B with him and Harburg.
Well, and they kind of said that after the spring game anyway.
Yeah. Now, as the season has unfolded, and he has been the number 3 guy, up until recently, the family was like, he's going to have surgery. He was running the scout team. It's kind of an interesting story that you all of a sudden take a guy that was running the scout team plays before Maryland, and he's going to start in now the most important game of your entire season, and it's back-to-back starts. So it's not like he was just dazzling in practice and they said, all right, throw you out there.
Or was involved in the game plan.
He dazzled on Saturday because they had a good start to the game. He made some throws. He got a little bit more help from his wide receivers, and they've helped out Harburg of late. The offense ran with a little bit more of a how it should look. He was decisive running. He put his foot in the ground. They also ran. They were able to run more, and they need to continue this. The ball coming out quick and those just quick routes, short, quick routes. I didn't like when they started to have him doing deep drops. I thought that when the ball started to rise and things
he looked uncomfortable too.
But stuff that was quick, that was in his comfort zone. I was also probably in the comfort zone of the guy calling plays because, man, that's a quarterback that I can trust, and we're like that.
And so Rule said 3 times in the last 2 weeks. That's the offense he wants to run too. He being Satterfield.
He was probably number 3 for a reason. A little bit of the injury, playing behind Sims. He got the opportunity. We'll see if he can seize it and go to the next step. I've speculated that, man, for him to transfer again, he'd need to graduate to become a 2-time transfer, so it can be a grad transfer. I don't know how he looks at what he did on Saturday and what he's going to do on Friday and say, you know what, I'm in the mix for 24. And does the staff believe that he would be in the mix for 24? We can't answer that question until he plays against Iowa.
Well, there's something.
But it was a good start because he was more decisive than what Harburg has been, and the
Sims.
offense seemed to run a little bit better. But good start. Exactly what Nebraska needed. They need that and a little bit more. Also, probably need some help from the running game to beat Iowa. So I think this is a good discussion to keep out there because I think it's real. But wait until after the Iowa game to go all in on if 12 is your guy or what his role would be in a quarterback room in 24 that cannot be like it is now. If it is, I will not be doing any Big Red overreaction.
Rough 24. Yeah, there's something to be said about being able to go out there and play freely with 2 games to get to a bowl game now. You've got all the pressure on you this week, too. And that's a little bit different of a mentality state for Chuba Purdy this week.
I think I said Scott was the last team to beat Bennington. Chad, a Bennington Badger at heart. It says last loss was a Plattsmouth in the quarterfinals. I think the last regular season loss was to Scott.
Yes, that is true.
Okay.
That for
That's
sure.
what I was thinking.
I don't know. I don't know about the playoff situation, but yeah, the last regular season was definitely
38 wins in a row by Bennington, going for the 3rd straight state title. Hello. Here is Rick. Before we get to the next hour, it'll include Jacob Bigelow. Good morning, Rick.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Good, Rick.
buddy.
How are you?
Good. I just want to make a quick comment about Trev Albert spending $400 million. He wants to spend $400 million reducing a 100-year-old mausoleum. When he spent enough money, they spent enough money over the years hiring coaches and firing coaches. They could have had a brand new Jerry Jones indoor stadium that would have been the state of the art between Gretna and Lincoln that would have attracted everybody in the nation. Number one. Number two, it appears that he doesn't really know how to spend $400 million appropriately. He's got more of a problem to fix than his stadium. He don't have a problem with his stadium unless he wants to reduce it 20,000. He's going to lose more than 20,000 fans if he can't fix his team. And the only way to fix the team is to spend that money by hiring competent coaches to go out in the houses to recruit 5-star players, not 4-star, not 3-star. 3-star would be okay in the Summit League, but that ain't going to cut it in the Big Ten. You got to have 5-star players. It's going to look so ugly next year when we go out to USC and play on the and the Coliseum and the Horseshoe, and then you add Oregon, and then you add Washington. I think they're number 7. This was the only year that we had a feasible opportunity to go to a bowl, and we let it all slip through our fingers. That's my comment.
Hey, Rick, when was the last time you went to a game at Memorial Stadium?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it needs an upgrade.
It's needed it for a long time.
But I'm interested in your you would have liked the Jerry's World right off there 80, right there by like where the old IH Speedway is.
Yes.
Okay.
That'd be an excellent choice.
Yeah, that area is growing, man. They're going to have a Lake Okeechobee there. That would have been
because know that UNI Dome in Iowa actually is a nice, even though it's a smaller capacity, it's a nice facility. And I think that Nebraska should I mean, they've wasted enough money. They need to get something. And he needs to fix something other than his stadium, because I think his team needs worse of a fixing than his stadium does right now.
All right. So instead of spending money to upgrade a 100-year-old facility, you would rather spend that money on players.
Absolutely, and coaches that can recruit effective 5-star players.
Okay.
5-star players.
All right.
Because you're never going to beat Ohio State with a 4-star player. You're always going to have, and I think that the Huskers just want to have a season that, they're after the money. They're not after the. I mean, as long as they're in the position they're in, they're always going to be 3-7, 4. They need a fix. They need a fix. Think about what I said, because I think it does make sense.
You know what?
You guys have a great day,
Rick. I appreciate the call. You said a lot that I'm going to have to listen to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
I don't know how you could say they're after the money if they're cutting 20,000 seats out of the stadium. The math doesn't math there. But thanks for the call, Rick.
Just keep it moving.
That's right.
It's a good time for a break. Jacob Bigelow, Amy Just still to come on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. You can help a child in need experience the joy of opening a gift this Christmas morning. Join 1620 The Zone as we stuff the truck to benefit Toys for Tots. Friday, December 1st from 3 till 7 and Saturday, December 2nd from 11 till 4 at the Zone Studio parking lot off 50th and Dodge. Help those in need this holiday season by donating a new unwrapped toy. All the info at 1620thezone.com with Molina Healthcare, 2 Men in a Truck, J-Tech Construction and Solar, Hy-Vee, and 1620 The Zone.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Put your coffee department in good hands with Host Coffee Service, providing direct delivery and loaned coffee equipment with service programs. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Creighton Sports Update. Hey, Blue Jay fans, it's volleyball and soccer season here at Creighton. So get your tickets and come out and support your Blue Jays. For tickets, go to Ticketmaster.com, GoCreighton.com/tickets, or visit the office located at the Ryan Athletic Center. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
72 Table and Tap hits the spot for creative food, craft beer, and bourbon, as in really good bourbon. 72 Table and Tap is just south of Ralston Arena, so stop in before or after the concert or game. Try one of the 20 beers on tap, any one of the 150 whiskeys, or indulge in some smoked wings or a goldfish breaded pork tenderloin. They also serve salads, tasty bar food, flatbreads, pizzas, sandwiches, and desserts. There's a reason customers keep coming back. 72 Table and Tap. Eat, drink, gather, repeat.
Now open Sundays till 9.
Hey there, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Outdoor Nebraska update. It's hunting time in the Husker State. For a safe season, remember to be totally certain of your target and your background before you fire that shot. In a moment, ask yourself, is the bullet flight path clear? Is that a legitimate target? And what am I going to hit if I miss my shot? Please be careful out there. If you'd like more information on hunting safety, go to outdoornebraska.gov. That's outdoornebraska.gov. From wildfowl to owls. Great time of year to step outside and watch wildlife. Many animals are still active, plus the leaves have mostly fallen, vegetation is set back, and we'll have some warmer weather. Maybe you'll hike a state park trail or head to a public reservoir to do that. Oh, and don't forget your camera. Oh, it's on your phone. That's right. I'm Greg Wagner.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Reason number 237 to love Fernando's.
A helpful smile in every aisle. If you know, you know.
Fernando's Pico, Queso Blanco, Artichoke Dip, and Famous Flour Chips are now available at your local Hy-Vee. Now it's even easier to get your Fernando's fix.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
There have been a lot of things that people have proposed for where I-80 Speedway used to be.
Is that the most out of left field one you've heard?
There was talk about building an airport there. There has been talk, the Iowa Speedway that is over in Newton, which I have been to now. Big fan. I really liked it over there. That they were going to build a big NASCAR track right there off of the interstate. I think they should build instead of the little B Skin Flick movie parlor they used to have there on the left side of the road off of 80. They should just open up a big, huge sports book right there in Ashland. Not Gretna, Ashland. But yeah, they talk about, and Chip Davis was going to build a huge amphitheater right in that area.
Could you imagine?
But now Rick would like Trev to build Jerry's World there. Now there's a little logistical thing that is a little bit of ways from campus.
Yeah. Last time I checked, and we might have to Peter might have to call the university in this next break, but I believe the university is still located in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Would Trev say that is Omaha's football team? Jacob Bigelow is coming up next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio. This is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a bit of a delay from 192nd to 168th on Center. On Dodge, it looks like a little bit of slowdown from 94th to 90th, and along Highway 370, be prepared for some delays from 150th to the I-80 East and West ramps. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Zoom Drain.
Dealing with any type of plumbing issue can be overwhelming, especially if it's related to your drain or sewer lines. Thankfully, Zoom Drain specializes in drain and sewer services of all scopes. Contact Zoom Drain anytime by logging on to zoomdrain.com.
If you're looking for the hottest ticket in town, it's Blue Collar Boxing 2023, presented by Limitless Mail at Liberty First Credit Union Arena in Ralston. On Wednesday, November 22nd, local union members will face off in the boxing ring for charity, with proceeds benefiting the Nebraska Center for Workforce Development and Education and United Way of the Midlands. The atmosphere will be electric, the energy will be high, and the arena will be rocking. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today at bluecollarboxing.org or the Liberty First Credit Union Arena box office.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. If you were exposed to toxic substances in the military, a new law called the PACT Act may make you eligible for extra benefits and care. The PACT Act benefits veterans of the Vietnam, Gulf War, and post 9/11 eras. Learn more at va.gov/PACT or call 1-800-MyVA411.
Hey, it's Connor Happer. Join Gary Sharp and I tonight for the Class B State Championship game with coverage presented by Great Plains Home Exteriors on 1620 The Zone. Tonight, it's undefeated number 1 seed and defending state champion Bennington against the 3 seed in Class B, Omaha Skutt. The Nebraska State Football Championships on 1620 The Zone are brought to you by Great Plains Home Exteriors. Join Gary Sharp and myself tonight for the Class B State Football Championship game from Memorial Stadium on 1620 The Zone.
Hey everyone, John and Josh here for the FanDuel Sportsbook, and this Thanksgiving, FanDuel has something you're really going to be thankful for, because today, right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Moneyline bets are simple. You're just picking the winner, so pick a big favorite on Thanksgiving Day. And when I think Thanksgiving, everybody thinks the Detroit Lions.
What a moment for the Lions, John. They can get another victory as their march for the playoffs continues. As John said, go to FanDuel.com/1620. And if you have a winning $5 moneyline bet, you can get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. Also, I recommend taking the Dallas Cowboys. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame moneyline wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, it's our young friend that is growing up before our eyes. He has wandered off into the podcast world. He's got his own podcast, solo, him and Micah Parsons. This is Jacob Bigelow, whose profile is growing. I see him everywhere now, appearing on other people's shows. Good morning.
Good morning. No time like the present to try to grow the portfolio of work in the sports stuff. So decided to launch the solo pod. I appreciate the plug, Gary. Thank you.
Well, let everybody know where they can find it.
So we're waiting for the Apple approval, but if you're a Spotify listener, you can find it on Spotify, or if you have listened to any of the other, basically it's on every podcast platform except for Apple right now. We're just waiting on Apple, but you can find The Stretch Big with me, Jacob Bigelow. First 2 episodes, a little intro, and then a recap of the game in Sioux Falls from Saturday for episode 2. So those are out now.
So 5-0, big win against Oregon State. They have a lot of people intrigued. The schedule hasn't been great, but Duquesne is going to be a challenge on Wednesday. So at 5-0, where is Nebraska basketball going?
It's tough to say right now, but the defense is going to travel. It traveled 2.5 hours up I-29 on Saturday. That's for sure. That's what flipped the switch. And it's, Fred has emphasized that he's, hammering it into the team that defense has to be their constant thing. It needs to be their identity. And that showed itself on Saturday, and it led into offense. Oregon State, they're a really young team. They're weren't very experienced. Wayne Tinkle admitted, after the game, he's like, Nebraska they out-physicaled them, and they showed they had more experience and maturity, and that played a big part. But there's a lot to like so far. I definitely think Duquesne is probably will be their third toughest non-con game behind the obvious two of Creighton and Kansas State. But Duquesne's a top 100 team in all the metrics, and they got two guards who can really go. So it'll be interesting.
Nebraska 5-0, but obviously 4-1 against the spread as well. They're outperforming Vegas's expectations. Where have they outperformed your expectations at this point in the season?
I think on defense. We just talked about it, but that was where I had the most questions. Losing guys like Greasel and Bandamel was kind of the scrappy DU up guard, and the guys they lost, I was more concerned about what they brought that into the court. And then obviously you see, you had the first couple games without Juwan Gary, who's also, he had that junkyard dog label or whatever. So I had some questions defensively. Now it helps with, the opponents they've faced throughout their first five. But I think that, where I've been the most impressive is their energy and, how they've looked on that end of the court.
There's a different vibe, and I think it starts with defense. But there's going to be portions where they're going to put the ball in the basket. And Casey is back, and it's going to take him a little bit to get into the rotation and get into the field, not to the rotation, but in terms of, what I'm saying about getting into the field.
Yep.
Could I convince you that the most valuable person to Casey on his own team is Bryce Williams?
You could definitely convince me of that. I've been kind of trying to, conduct the train for Bryce Williams since last spring, since he transferred in from Charlotte, and he definitely these last two games has shown what he's capable of. But for Casey to have guys he can defer to like Williams, like Mast, the depth and options that this team has, it's if Casey's off or he's starting like he did in his first game where he was 0 for 9, there are other guys who can pick up the slack and go get a bucket.
Obviously, when you talk about Juwan Gary coming back and Casey Tominaga coming back, the changes of Sam Hoiberg's role on this team have changed a lot from game one till this point. What do you think his role is going forward?
He's the spark plug guy, man.
Yep.
He's the spark plug guy. You saw it on Saturday. Jordan Pope, who's a really good player for Oregon State. He has their first 9 points, hits a couple mid ranges, knocks in a three. They send in Sam off the bench, and Sam immediately picks up Pope when he's no other way to describe him. He's the barely 6 foot tall son of the head coach, and he's picking up the other team's best player on D, and he happens to cash a three to get the crowd into it, and I still don't really understand how he made that layup where he got fouled. Need to make the 3-1 though, Sam. But he's the spark. He's gonna make the right play. He's gonna make the right read. He's done everything right whenever he's been on the court so far this year. And if you continue to do the right things, you're gonna have a role on this team.
So they bring in Williams, and he looks like he's settling in, especially if you look at his line score from Saturday. Rick Mast has got back-to-back double-doubles. Is there anything, because you've talked a lot about him transferring from Bradley and what he could do in a Fred Hoiberg offense. Well, he's also doing it on the glass. Anything that you've seen from Rick Mast in the first 5 games that is surprisingly good that you were not expecting?
No, he's been as good as advertised and then some, in my opinion. I think the biggest thing that made me kind of raise my eyebrow was in the post game on Saturday when, Oregon State had 5 players who were 6'9" or taller, and they kind of all got their shot at Rink, and Rink got their shot at all of them, including a 6'10" kid and a 7'2" kid. And by name, Rink mentioned Ryan Kalkbrenner, Zach Edey and Cliff Omarui as guys that are going to be coming, and that he's going to have to go up against, later in the year. And that, not all big men are created equal. They have their own facets to their game. And, just because they're big doesn't mean they all play the same. But he mentioned those three by name. And I was like, oh, he definitely, he knows what's coming. And I think he'll be more than prepared.
Speaking of Ryan Kalkbrenner, they're 13 days out away from playing those Blue Jays. We mentioned Duquesne, but they also get Cal State Fullerton before they see Creighton at PBA. What do you think Nebraska needs to tune up before that game against Creighton on December 3rd?
Well, I think if you're gonna hang with Creighton, you're gonna have to make shots. The game on Saturday was definitely Nebraska's most complete game. It was kind of the closest they've come to putting two halves together offensively, but still their percentages were, they could definitely have been better. But when you're up by 25 to 30, you can kind of go into cruise control and get a little stagnant. We kind of saw that, but I think, they're going to have to, they're going to have to be in rhythm on offense if they're going to want to, hang with, or, maybe, I'm not going to speak in absolutes, but they haven't beat Creighton in back-to-back seasons since the 90s. So they're going to have to, they're going to have to be on their A game for that game in a couple weeks. But I think offense is, what they're going to have to tune up. But they also have a week off. The Cal State Fullerton game is on Sunday, and then they have a week off leading up to that game. So there'll be plenty of time to get in the film room and get some reps in and have that scout ironed out.
Hey, why do they have a week off? Did they have to move a game? Because that just seems odd this time of the year that they would have a full week off that is not around like finals week or something.
It is definitely, it's different for sure. Maybe it's because they're not in like an MTE elsewhere. They kind of, created their own and, just played games, at home and called it their MTE for the year. That they didn't travel to the Bahamas or Florida or anywhere for anything like that. Maybe that's where that came into play. But yeah, when I realized that looking at the schedule, I'm like, yeah, they play Fullerton and they've got a full week off leading into that Creighton game.
When we get into Big Ten play, how much does this team change physically, and how are they able to maintain the momentum they have right now when the calendar turns to January?
Well, you'd have to tell me what the rotation is. I think we're still a ways from ironing out, the rotation. I'm going to guess Fred is going to want to get it down to 8, maybe 8 or 7. It's going to have to be ironed out before you're going on the road to places like Assembly Hall and the Breslin Center play games in the league. But Nebraska's biggest thing right now that they've shown the intensity on defense, but I think the defense in the backcourt is my biggest question. Their guards, they've got plenty of them, but none of them are really the most fleet of foot or laterally quick. They could, get blown by some more twitchy guards, but that's where, game planning comes into play. But, that's my biggest question right now is backcourt defense, to be specific.
All right. First trip to the Pentagon, thumbs up. Yes.
2. 2 thumbs up because I've only got 2. That was a really fun experience. It's a super cool atmosphere, very intimate. I think it definitely needs to be less than 5 years before Nebraska plays another game up there. It was really, really fun, and there was, it was definitely a very pro Nebraska crowd. But with the way that place is, it got loud quick, and it was loud throughout. It was a really, really cool atmosphere.
Yeah, I've been there numerous times. It's that whole area around the airport in Sioux Falls, and I told you guys you should stop at Fleet Farm or knock off Top Golf that's right across the street. It's just such a unique venue with the exterior courts for youth basketball, AAU, and then you've got the main one, which is like it. The only negative I heard, Jacob, was the ticket prices were through the roof.
Wow.
Yeah, that was kind of the only thing I noticed was if you were sitting on the bleachers on the baseline, those tickets were going for $47, and tickets on the sidelines, no matter where you were going for $77. And those were the only 2 face value ticket prices. So that was a little eye opening, but there was definitely some empty seats, but still plenty of red in the building. But it was But yeah, that was kind of the only complaint I heard as well.
Yeah, I think if Nebraska and Creighton have a chance to play up there every couple of years, and then if Omaha convince like South Dakota to move a game there, I mean, they love basketball, and what they've been able to do to bring in those kind of matchups. Did you go and look at the wall of all the teams and players that have played there?
I did.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's pretty impressive what that venue in Sioux Falls, South Dakota has been able to do to get like big name teams to come in there and play, a one-off game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that'd be a good place for both Nebraska and Creighton to maybe renew some old rivalries. If you don't want to agree to a home and home with some former conference mates, play a one-off up there. There'd be plenty of people to go.
Yep.
If Creighton wants to play Wichita State again, or another old Valley
What they play BYU up there a couple years ago.
They played BYU up there. Interesting, weird matchup, but or Nebraska wants to get another Big 12 team up there, I think that'd be the perfect place.
Yep.
But I'm also very pro schedule home and homes coaches. But if you want to schedule in neutral, there's probably no better place in the country than up there.
Hey, good luck with the podcast. If you want me on anytime, I'll come over to your apartment.
Hey, that works for me, man. We can work it out. But yeah, I appreciate the plug, and good talking with you guys. Let's have a good short week, and have a happy Thanksgiving, you guys.
Yep, we'll see you Wednesday night at PBA for a good game, Nebraska and Duquesne. See how Nebraska handles 5-0. I got a different vibe.
Duquesne is not bad. They're one of the best mid majors, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean the alma mater of Norm Nixon. You go into the because they're just up the street where their arena is, just up the street from where the Penguins play, downtown Pittsburgh. Norm Nixon, number 10, up in the rafters.
I don't think I knew that he went to Duquesne. I don't think I knew that until just now.
I did not tell you when I did a game there, and I walked in, and Norm Nixon's up in the rafters.
One of
It's
those
actually kind of unique.
Laker
place.
great.
Yeah, they've been good. That'll be a good test. It won't show up as like, oh my gosh, here come, but it's a good test for this team at 5-0. We'll see how they handle.
Oh, you mentioned the
being
Rafters.
5-0.
I totally forgot. Jordan Hooper's getting a jersey in the Rafters for Nebraska women's.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
Congrats.
Not bad. That's and well deserved.
Yeah.
Women's athletics at Nebraska are doing pretty well. Soccer to the Elite Eight. They're going to take on Stanford out in California on Friday. This is not only a volleyball state, it's also a soccer state because Iowa Western women won their second straight national title.
That's a different state.
We're all together. Amy Just from the Lincoln Journal-Star will join us next on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley.
Previously on the crossover. And we rolled him over on the side. He hit one of those ruts, turned 45 degrees sideways, hit the retaining wall, and eventually started going end over end. And so every time the top of the barrel, the exposed end, you'd see his arms flaying. And then we stood there at the top of the hill. We were looking at each other going, do we go down and save him or do we run?
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, the Connor Happer Show, unsportsmanlike conduct, 6A to 6P, 1620, The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Plan on a wet start to your Monday with on and off light rain showers continuing the first half of the day. Still a few lingering into the afternoon, otherwise cloudy and cool with highs in the mid-40s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is always looking to make your game day bigger and better. Cheer on your favorite team this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall showing up to 8 games at once. TVs are everywhere else you can look with a state-of-the-art audio and video system. Enjoy a big O pizza or award-winning char-buffed wings. There's just no better way to do your game day. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Our Cox mobile plans are like a band. The more people you add, the better it sounds. So, add more lines to save more. Pay as low as $30 per line when you add 4 or more gig unlimited lines. It's easy. I like the sound of that. Visit cox.com/mobile. 4 lines required for $30 per line price. Max of 5 lines. Prices exclude taxes, device activation, and other fees and charges, which are subject to change. Cox postpaid internet required. Other restrictions apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Hey there, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Outdoor Nebraska update. It's hunting time in the Husker State. For a safe season, remember to be totally certain of your target and your background before you fire that shot. In a moment, ask yourself, is the bullet flight path clear? Is that a legitimate target? And what am I going to hit if I miss my shot? Please be careful out there. If you'd like more information on hunting safety, go to outdoornebraska.gov. That's outdoornebraska.gov. From wildfowl to owls. Great time of year to step outside and watch wildlife. Many animals are still active, plus the leaves have mostly fallen, vegetation is set back, and we'll have some warmer weather. Maybe you'll hike a state park trail or head to a public reservoir to do that. Oh, and don't forget your camera. Oh, it's on your phone. That's right. I'm Greg Wagner.
Get a full breakdown of what went right and what went wrong immediately after every Nebraska game with Big Red Overreaction, presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally, and by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Also brought to you by Chase Senate Contracting, Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and Rotella's Italian Bakery. Immediately after the game, join the show and sound off with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Big Red Overreaction with the Keg and 1620 The Zone.
Over the past few years, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected how we live our daily lives. Today, we also face a mental health pandemic that threatens our well-being as we attempt to rebuild our social networks and communities.
The pandemic has reminded us to value family, community, and our human connections. However, it has also left many of us feeling more isolated, confused, and alone, struggling to find meaning amid loss and uncertainty.
Today, 1 in 5 Americans experience emotional and mental health challenges, but many of us do not understand what we are facing or know how to ask for help.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, we understand what you are going through, and we are here to help. Our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all. We work every day to eliminate stigma, combat mental illness and substance use disorders, and advance mental health. If you or someone you love needs help, you are not alone. Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Hey, it's Connor Happer. Join Gary Sharp and I tonight for the Class B State Championship game with coverage presented by Great Plains Home Exteriors on 1620 The Zone. Tonight, it's undefeated number 1 seed and defending state champion Bennington against the 3 seed in Class B, Omaha Skutt. The Nebraska State Football Championships on 1620 The Zone are brought to you by Great Plains Home Exteriors. Join Gary Sharp and myself tonight for the Class B State Football Championship game from Memorial Stadium on 1620 The Zone.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Really cool. Our next guest is, I believe, already sent some our way. A couple of cases of spotted cow back from her trip to Wisconsin to cover Saturday night's game in Madison. It is Amy Justin, Lincoln Journal-Star. Thank you for sending some spotted cow our way. I'm a big fan of beer from New Blair.
It's not for you.
Excuse me?
It's not for you. If you wanted some, you should have asked.
Oh. Well, how many cases did you bring back?
So I brought back a 12-pack for Wilson Moore, a 6-pack for one of my roommates from college, and a 4-pack of the Belgian Red for Bigelow.
Ooh,
Because
I've
they
heard the Belgian
asked.
Reds.
Because
Is
they
that more or
asked.
less than you thought
All
you were
right.
going to have to bring back with you?
About the same, because they told me
Oh.
beforehand.
All right, so you're a mule as well as a journalist. I see how that
Hey,
works.
they paid
Yeah.
me for it.
Whoa, okay. Next time you're headed there, I will give you a list because we are big fans of Spotted Cow here at 1620.
Sounds good. I will be happy to oblige.
It seems like we've done this before, but I'm going to give you, these are just the emotions that I wrote down hearing the head coach and players speak, and you may agree with all of them, or you may add another description. Angry, sad, disappointed, frustrated. What was the general tone with Matt Rule and players when that game was over?
It wasn't angry, but it was the rest of them. Like
Why
they
not? Why not angry?
in post game they didn't feel angry. I believe that
Oh.
they're angry, but it just didn't come across.
Gotcha.
What was the thought process around how this game could end when Nebraska gets up 14-0? What's going through your mind when you see that and how some of these games have played out? It looked like Nebraska had a chance to put the foot on the gas and not let up.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, okay." And then but also it's like, "Well, we've seen this before, like don't get too high on it cuz if you've watched Nebraska football the last however many years, no lead is safe." So, I was cautiously optimistic, and I was cautious for a reason.
Cautiously
I wanted
optimistic
to
Nebraska
believe
football story.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
wanted to believe that it would be different this time.
why wasn't it?
They got a little lackadaisical in the middle. Like, it wasn't that they kept being aggressive, but it wasn't necessarily, like, paying off. Like, that 4th down call, like, yeah, they absolutely should have gone for it. I wish that it might have been a different play call, but I liked that they went for it. But after that,
What would you like to see in that situation?
well, like in the moment, I was like, why don't you run Chuba? Like, and then I go back and I look at it and I'm like, oh, there's like 3 D tackles lined up right over the center. That's probably not a great idea either. So I don't know, but I just feel like they could have gotten something there because they saw something and it just didn't work.
Okay, so sticking with seeing something, we're eventually, I'm very curious on your thoughts at the end of regulation, but you wrote about this. What did you see in Chuba Purdy, and what does it mean going forward, even beyond Friday?
He was so in the moment, he had the best day of any quarterback Nebraska's had this season. Like, yes, it was in a loss, but his completion percentage was higher than anybody else's, and his completed passes were higher than anybody else's. Not the most yards, that was against Michigan, and a lot of that came in garbage time, so I don't really read into that a whole lot, but I thought he did what he was asked to do. The only turnover he had was, again, not something you should read into. It was an interception on the last play of overtime. You have to do something out of desperation in that situation because it's 4th and 16. So,
Go ahead, sir.
no, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say he obviously led the team in rushing as well. Does it surprise you that a
Mhm.
quarterback that supposedly has a major groin issue right now is toting the ball 14 times when you have a combination like Emmett Johnson and Anthony Grant?
There weren't a ton of designed runs. A lot of those were out of scrambles. That touchdown he had was out of a scramble. Like, I just don't I don't think he liked what he was seeing on a lot of those and just tucked it and went.
Well,
But yes, I agree with you.
I mean, he still led
Probably
the team in
feeling it.
carries though. It's just surprising to me.
He's probably feeling it. But I would imagine that they got him feeling all right before that one.
Hey, take me into the world of Saturday night, where the end of regulation on how it was handled and what it ended up to be to go to overtime. And now we're Monday. It's still game week, but it's still a topic, and the head coach speaks today. Are we still processing what happened at the end of regulation? Do you expect that to be a point of discussion today with the head coach?
Yeah, I do. So I did not get the best look on it because me and one of the Daily Nebraskan kids and the On 3 guys were, like we normally do, go down to the field level with like 3 minutes left in regulation. And so it is kind of hard to see what's going on because they don't let you on the field. So, but after going back and watching it, I'm like, what are we doing? Call the timeout. Call the timeout. You have them. You cannot take them with you. Call the timeout. And I was saying that before halftime too, because they let a lot of time run off the clock at halftime too.
In the moment when you're in the stadium and you're reflecting back to a week ago, how much does it feel like the same exact feeling when Nebraska's playing for that field goal versus trying to punch in the end zone? How much did it feel exactly the same from a week ago, and how did it differ?
Yeah, it feels like Groundhog Day again. Like that's what I wrote my column as last week. Obviously, I went with a little different angle this week because yes, it was a loss, but I was still really impressed with Chubba. And so I went with that angle. But yeah, it just feels like, how can we write the same thing 4 weeks in a row?
Amy
But
Jesselink,
here we are.
Amy Jess, the Lincoln Journal-Star, joining us. So now, instead of having 4 games to win 1 to become bowl eligible, they have 1 game on Friday against, oh, by the way, Iowa, which just wrapped up the West and is going to Indianapolis, but they're going to stop off in Lincoln on the way. What do you think that game's going to be like? What do you think Friday? What do you think Friday will be like at Memorial Stadium with still an opportunity to become bowl eligible?
Cold.
Touche.
How are you preparing for that?
I don't know, because the initial line, at least from the ESPN Sportsbook, was Nebraska's the 1-point favorite. So I don't know. I have no idea.
Are you reading into that at all? That some people are tweeting in and calling to us saying Iowa may sit its starters and the Big Ten West is locked up. And all. No chance that happens, right?
No, absolutely not. There's no way. Like, and granted, this feels like a little opposite from last year's game where Nebraska didn't have anything to lose and Iowa had everything to lose.
Who does that benefit more?
Well, usually the team with nothing to lose.
I think that's different.
Because you're playing free. You're not thinking. And so I don't know. But
I think Nebraska has something to lose on Friday.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I said,
Yeah,
it's
it's just
just
about Iowa. Yeah. No, I do say I mean, you can't tell me that, and I'm not saying you, but people have intimated this. Iowa wants to be 10-2. They want to beat Nebraska. I think it's nice they get wrapped up and they can just, that's not in the back of their mind. But man, they got competitors over there. They saw all of Nebraska celebrate on their field last year. And for the most part, they've owned Nebraska, and that would be 2 straight years. Man, I would hate to be 600 plus days without beating Nebraska in football if I was Iowa.
Yeah. And also, I think the team wants to send a message to the administration for, you preemptively fire our offensive coordinator. Well, go away. No, we will win with him.
Couple of quick things here. One, I'm glad that you're going to stay in Lincoln because it would have been easier to take the assignment day after Thanksgiving, go out to Stanford, California to watch Nebraska-Stanford in Elite 8 women's soccer.
I wish.
Man, that's why is that story still going? Because it's a program that back in the 90s was a juggernaut, and John Walker had it rolling. Then they've been spotty here and there, John Walker has been here. So he's been here almost 30 years.
94.
No, he has been here 30 years.
Why is that story still continuing that they are 4-0 against UC Irvine? Friday night, they score in the last minute against Tennessee, that they are in the Elite Eight. Nebraska women's soccer is still alive. Why is that still a story, and why is that still going?
Part of it, they got a lucky break that they didn't have to play UCLA because UC Irvine upset them in the last minute of the first round, which was crazy. Like, absolutely crazy. And then, so part of it's luck, but part of it is just this team has been so good all year, and they have the belief that they can do it. And you started to see it at the end of last season. They didn't get to the tournament, but they were playing really hot. And this team has all of those pieces, the exception of one who is still here, but tore her ACL in the spring, Reagan Robbie. So, like, one of their best players isn't even playing and hasn't played all season. So, like, they're so good. They're more aggressive than they used to be, and it's paying off. They're one of the highest scoring offenses in the country with two of the best goal scorers in the country with Eleanor Dale, who set the program record yesterday for goals in a season, and Sarah Weber, who is still also in the top, 3% of goal scorers in the country. So they believe in each other, they believe in themselves, and they're really aggressive, and it's working.
No, it's a great story, and it should be a lot of fun on Friday. And I know that you've had a front row seat. You've been all over the women's soccer team and covering, because they've got a lot of great storylines that are inside of that roster. So I appreciate it. Welcome back. Happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you on Friday. What could be a very interesting day at Memorial Stadium.
Sounds good.
Thank you. That's
Thanks,
Amy. Amy Just joins us every Monday from the Lincoln Journal-Star. Good column post game on Chubba Purdy, and she'll have a lot more this week. You got a lot of things going on. That Nebraska soccer out in California on Friday.
Yeah, she didn't bring up Abby Shore, who's having a tremendous season as well.
I'm a fan of John Walker. I used to do a little radio hit with John Walker, and all we talk about is the Toronto Maple Leafs because he's Canadian.
Don't you know?
And he had a bunch of Canadians, when they were at the height of Nebraska women's soccer. I mean, they had World Cup players that were playing in Lincoln, and everybody knew their name. And, they get a brand new facility. Hibner Stadium's beautiful.
Yeah.
And they've been kind of hit or miss. They battled some injuries, but they haven't been kind of the resources you poured in, the return on investment. So I'm happy for him because, he was here when Byrne was the athletic director. That's how long John Walker.
It's been a while.
and they're good. They're really, really good.
We're just solving all of the University of Nebraska's problems today. You got to get more 5-star players in the football program, more Canadians on the soccer program. We got everything's fixed.
It's solved.
Problems. You're welcome, Nebraska.
Rick's going to call back in a bit. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll wrap the show. Positive Phil wants to be the final call of the day.
Will he talk 5-star
Monday
players?
morning overreaction on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. You can help a child in need experience the joy of opening a gift this Christmas morning. Join 1620 The Zone as we stuff the truck to benefit Toys for Tots. Friday, December 1st from 3 till 7 and Saturday, December 2nd from 11 till 4 at the Zone Studio parking lot off 50th and Dodge. Help those in need this holiday season by donating a new unwrapped toy. All the info at 1620thezone.com with Molina Healthcare, 2 Men in a Truck, J-Tech Construction and Solar, Hy-Vee, and 1620 The Zone.
Over the past few years, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected how we live our daily lives.
Today, 1 in 5 Americans experience emotional and mental health challenges, but many of us do not understand what we are facing or how to ask for help.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, we work every day to eliminate stigma, combat mental illness and substance use disorders, and advance mental health.
If you or someone you love needs help, you are not alone. Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Betting on your favorite sporting events just got a whole lot easier. Warhorse Sportsbook is now open in Omaha. Save yourself the drive across the river and put your money where your mouth is at Horseman's Park, 6303 Q Street. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Women, were you exposed to toxic substances in the military? Then take note of the PACT Act, which expands benefits and care for all veterans once exposed to environmental hazards. For women veterans, such exposure can lead to reproductive cancers like ovarian, cervical, uterine, breast, and others. Learn more at va.gov/PACT.
Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved.
I'm just living sky high right now. I'm very thankful for it. And the team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-200-6895. 800-200-6895.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. If you're having a tough time or thinking about suicide, you're not alone, and there's hope. VA's Veterans Crisis Line has responders who listen and help. Many are veterans or have veteran family members and friends, so they're prepared to address your challenges. Don't wait. Dial 988, then press 1.
School bus drivers, custodians, paraeducators, and the list goes on of all the education support professionals who help every school in Nebraska run smoothly. They ensure that our students have a safe ride to school, healthy meals, and a clean environment to learn. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Take a moment to say thank you to the support staff at your child's school.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks. Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
And now, try Babbel free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, a couple of things tonight. The Class B final. Bennington against Omaha Skutt. Should be a LOS type of game. We'll have it for you beginning at 7. Kickoff is 7:15 at Memorial Stadium. You can take it wherever. You can be in the stadium and listen to Connor, Jimmy, and myself. We'll also have the Class A final tomorrow night. And then on a Football Friday Fiesta that'll be moved up to Wednesday, it'll be our final regular season appearance at Hy-Vee. We will be at the Super Hy-Vee in Gretna.
It all comes full circle.
Yes, that's where we had our first show.
Which feels like it was yesterday.
I know.
It did fly
Here's
by.
the thing. We wait all year for the football season to get here, and then it's over. And we're to rivalry week. I mean, the bottom line is at 2:30, the football season around here could be over. How are we dealing with that? When a month ago,
Not feeling nearly
when
as
a
good
month
as I did
ago,
3 weeks
Happer
ago.
and I had made reservations in Vegas. Damn. Now we might be
And you're
making
still going to go to Vegas, but now maybe
Yeah.
no football.
I haven't been to Vegas too much this
Might be,
year.
might be going to Detroit. All right, let's finish the show this morning with Positive Phil. Good morning, Phil. Good to talk to you again.
Good morning, Gary. Good morning, gentlemen. Hey, speaking of Canada, do you guys know how Canada got their name?
I do not.
I'm out.
They just drew letters out of a hat. Canada.
He'll be here all day. Folks.
I haven't heard that before.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil.
So let's talk about the show Saturday night, right? It was like when I was a kid watching the movie Major League. So
okay.
I'm going along and man, they just made the team. They're having dinner. Jake runs into his old girlfriend. And then the season starts, right? They can't catch a pop-up. They can't hit the ball.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bad news Bears, right? And then Ricky Vaughn on national TV against the Oakland A's pitches a 9-inning gem. And Jake Crash Davis is the last hitter, and he pops up, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as ball meets glove, Lou looks over at his pitching coach, and what does he say? It's starting to come together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Positive Phil was that 9-inning gem for your show on Saturday night.
Yes, yes, you were. Yes, you were.
I thought this was going to be a Chubba Purdy as Rick Vaughn comparison for a second there.
Hey. You ever heard the Beyonce song? You must not know about me. You must not know about me.
If I say no, will you keep
dealing
singing?
with, gentlemen. That's who you're dealing
That's
with.
who. That's Phil.
So to tell you
That's
what
Phil.
I do for a living, Gary,
Yeah.
which you'll be very interested in, and we need to talk outside of this.
All right.
I'm about 4 feet away from the red strapped Arn Anderson Crockett Promotion Television Championship. Right next to it is the Magnum TA United States Crockett Championship. Next to that is the first belt that Hulk Hogan came out to on the main event when Andre beat him.
Nice.
I think someone was paid. And then beside that's the Rock IC title. So anyways, hey.
Conrad Thompson calling into our show right now?
You know that feeling you got when you saw my name?
Yeah.
It's real.
I know.
All the vibes.
And someday you'll understand that. So can I give your producer my info? And can you reach out to me, Gary?
Yeah, yes, I will do that. I'll put you on hold, Phil.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
So you got a championship belt to sell you?
Phil was the voice of reason through a bunch of anger on Saturday night. So just get his info, Peter, and I'll reach out to Phil. All right. It kind of started out a little choppy. People a little angry. Maybe a little bit of a whew. Matt Rule speaks later this morning ahead of Iowa. They got one opportunity to go to a bowl game and be 6-6 or 5-7. 3 previous times hasn't worked out. What will happen on the 4th time? We have a couple more days to discuss all of that. You can join Jimmy and myself and Connor tonight. Memorial Stadium will be on the air at 7 for Bennington and Scott. 7:15 kickoff for the Class B final. Bennington's trying to win 3 in a row.
Crazy.
Scott's trying to snap Bennington's 38-game winning streak. I think it'll be a fantastic game tonight, and we'll have it for you. And we'll be back in tomorrow. Jimmy and Nick will be back. So thank you, Jimmy Allen, for sitting in. Peter Krinzer as well. I'm the guy that has his name on the show. That was the only one here today.
Bunch of slackers around here.
Crossovers coming next on 1620 The Zone.